move. Thought this was going to be tomorrow, and turns out that it's not. And we got 13 minutes. We got 13 minutes before this thing does a thing and does a thing. So welcome to the next expansion thing that's going to happen with 14. Because yay. But yeah. We're here with the 14. So new next expansion, new one. But we also have some time to kill because 13 minutes. So guess what? I'm going to go over what I'm going to predict. Whoa. Hey there, hold on. F11 to make this big. Alright. I last edited this an hour ago. These are my fucking predictions. Okay? Here's all the predictions I can go over in the next 12 minutes. Run down my reasonings. Okay? And then when all of these get fucking turns out to not be true, I get to be mad. I get to showcase how I'm not Nostradamus. Anyways, so first of all, expansion title is of course Forspoken because Square Enix trademarked it like a few months ago. The title works as expansion title rather than like a regular game, so of course this is, Square Enix is not stupid. They're not like Microsoft making game called Evoken. One word titles pretty much only work with like expansions. But yeah. Anyways, so that's a gimme. That's a gimme because we know. So here's what I expect. I expect 2 new classes. Because they usually do 2. There's only one time they've done 3. At very least, they're going to do one of these. I'm guessing it's going to be a healer, because we need another healer. And a caster. So, of course, reasonings is, hey, we haven't had a healer since Heaven's Word. That's with Astrologian, whatever. Since then, we've had ranged DPS, melee DPS, caster, and a tank. So right now, we have 4 tanks, we have 4 melee physical, but we have 3 casters, 3 healers, and 3 ranged. So of course we're going to get a new healer, so that'll make 4. So that only leaves, what else? We got a ranged last expansion. I don't think they'll do a ranged class this expansion. Or ranged physical, I should say. So odds are it'll be a caster. Now, as for what they're going to be, I think there's a chance of like a chemist or an alchemist or whatever. Like somebody mix potions and then as like a healer. But for caster, I'm not really sure. I would almost say Geomancer, but then again, White Mage has those stone spells. So I'm like, I'm not sure. So I'm not going to predict what classes they are, but what type of class they are. Because there's multiple classes they could be. New races, none. There'll be no new races. I even put it like this, no new ones. They kind of stated that with the Hofgar and Vieira, that those were going to be the last ones. I don't even think they'll add in the sexes. And even if they do, I think the only one they would ever add would be the Hofgar female, because that has story importance. The male Vieiras kinda don't, and like the creator of the Vieiras don't like having the male ones. But yeah, I don't think they're going to. It mostly has to do with like how the armor is designed in this game. Like this isn't World of Warcraft where you can add like a new race easily because the armor is just a texture that's applied to the skin. The armor in this game is actually, modeled. It's like how my VTuber model is. That jacket is a separate model from my character. That's how armor works in 14. So of course, next location, Ilzabard. I fucking we've been beating around this bush for such a long fucking time. We've been beating around this bush since really Stormblood. Stormblood is all about like the Empire, and then at the very end it's like we are fighting the Empire, and then like things settle down, and then we go off to a side adventure so we can take care of whatever. But in the background of every single portion of this expansion has been, oh yeah, fucking the Baljer front. And you can't sit back and like have portion of this story and main event also be about like the Empire if we're not going to take care of the Empire now. Now they could swerve. They could swerve with 5.5. But look, it's the last subcontinent. We have a giant map of like the 3 great continents, but like the middle is just full of clouds. I want to see that. I want to see the fucking third one. It's not like we have to go everywhere there. Just show us. Just come on. You know. On top of that, like it's pretty obvious Xenos is back in charge of the Empire, so we're gonna have to take, if he's gonna be the main villain, we're gonna have to take him down. So like, he's gonna be like the main villain, and then like for everything that's pre-patches, and then like we'll probably take on the other little asshole in like post-patch shit. So I'm going to take a stab also at the story. I wrote down just a very little thing, and this entire story is legitimately Xenos trying to create a situation in which somehow you would get like Hydaelyn or Zodiark, one of the two, will show up. There will be something there that will allow for Hydaelyn or Zodiark to show up, and the whole point is for Xenos to do the stupid thing that he did with Shinryu, so he can sit back and be powerful and kick the Warrior Light's ass, because Xenos is full of salt. He's full of spite. Also, I put down like a one-winged angel like fight, because every time I look at this character, I think, God damn it, he's stupidly Sephiroth because of like the swords and the blonde hair and whatnot, and I can see him being basically like the in-game safer Sephiroth. So like right now he is going to find a better sword. Guaranteed that shit's going to be Masamune. Guaranteed. So guest designers, I think you can kind of see off this one page what I put for the 24-man, but my ideas for the 24-man are going to be the guest designers are going to be this. There's four different types of people that can be there. Okay, there's Dragon Quest Man, which is Yuji Horii. There is somebody from the Mana series, a designer from the Saga series, or a designer from Bravely. Those 4. They're all Square Enix related in some way, shape, form. So I think that it would make sense for like Yuji Horii to do a 24-man that has like a little bit of Dragon Quest, because like right now you have Nier, okay, and Nier is doesn't have that, those raids don't have that same feeling that the previous 24-man raids had. They don't feel like they're really integrated with that universe. It feels like they're their own separate thing. It's like, oh, here's some Nier shit, and we don't even know how that storyline's going to finish. Um, but my other reasonings is Yoshi P, Noriyuki Yoshida, has worked on Dragon Quest games before. Before he even came over to 14, he worked on, I think, Dragon Quest 10, plus some of the DS games. There are Dragon Quest event crossovers, like those things. On top of that, I think those games have gotten enough popularity in the West that you could do a crossover event with them, or do a raid, and people will be happy with it. So, yeah. And then for the 8-man, I put Koichi Ishii. Or, as I said, someone related to Saga or Mana. And the reason I put Koichi... Granted, he doesn't work for Square Enix anymore. He works for Grezzo. He's even CEO of Grezzo. But, like, the FF12 dude, he doesn't work at Square Enix anymore, but he helps with, he helped with all of the Taxis stuff, and the raids there. Plus, he's still working there with the Baldur's Southern Front. So maybe we'll see then. I put him because he also worked upon the first Saga game, and he worked upon the Mana games. But either way, even if it isn't him, it would probably be someone from Saga or Mana. Those games are really closely tied to Final Fantasy, especially like the Mana games did start as a Final Fantasy game. The very first one is not like a localized for the West as Final Fantasy blah blah blah. That started out as a Final Fantasy. Saga is the one that didn't, but then got ported over. Mana did start. So I could see them doing a Mana thing. Either one of those. And that's kind of my predictions. I didn't do like who is the current class, like who would be the main class to do that. Like we've had warrior, we've had dragoon, monk, and samurai, and then dark knight, maybe summoner. People have been saying summoner because we're dealing with Neo Bahamut. There's a chance also that like it could be Gunbreaker, maybe. I could see like the Warrior of Light being the Gunbreaker, but then again, every class has been a melee class in these cutscenes. Maybe they'll go for a caster this time, or melee or tank class. But yeah, let me get out of this. We'll go over here. We're going to show. What do you mean closed caption issue detected? Oh. But either way, it is now time. Hey, I timed that really well. I am very good at doing the thing that I need to do. So let's go. Hey, it's a logo. It's actually 16. The moon. The moon. That's a Gunbreaker class, maybe. With the clinking of the armor? Oh, I need to turn this down a little bit. There we go. Wait, we are on the moon then. To the moon! Yep. Garlemald.
Final days were upon us. The fabric of the star had begun to fray, its lands rent by tooth and claw.
It's amazing that we see Alizé in the fucking shit. Paladin. Oh. Oh. Wait, those are bits. Those are the gun.
Alize! Are you alright?
I can look after myself, you know. And I've had enough of this ragging. Come on!
Paladin. Okay, I guess Forspoken would be a good Paladin-esque one.
Past the far edge of fate, ring blades dark and light, tolling the coming of the end.
The moon. We're going to the moon? Oh! Oh, that's a good name! Oh shit, it ain't even Forspoken, it's fucking Endwalker. Holy shit, that's a good name. So even the safest bet was wrong. Even the safest bet was wrong. Oh! Yay! No claps. We gotta make ourselves.
Final Fantasy XIV プロデューサー兼ディレクターの吉田です。Hi guys, my name is Naoki Yoshida, producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV. Bonjour à tous et enchanté, je suis Naoki Yoshida, producteur et réalisateur du Final Fantasy XIV. Guten Tag zusammen.
He's saying it in every language.
Producer
Yeah.
and director from Final Fantasy XIV というわけで、よろしく挨拶してみました。よろしくお願いします。ちょっとね、今日会場にね、観客いないので、ちょっとコメントを全部言うつもりか、Twitch も YouTube もコメント返してもらってるんで、すごいたくさんいる。ありがとうございます。
Hold on, I might have to refresh this. Well, refresh it just quickly, just to see if the caption shit is.
切れないので、今日僕のね、心強いトランスレーター呼びたいと思います。マイケル・クリストファー・コージ・フォックスです。
Oh, Koji Fox is coming out, so it doesn't matter. Okay, good.
コージよろしくね。
Hello everyone.
Good. We're gonna have at least Koji Fox help us.
I'd like to welcome you all to the announcement showcase for everyone here and watching around
Move the mouse
world.
away. Okay.
My name is Michael Christopher Koji Fox, and today I will be Yoshi P's English voice.
ありがとうありがとう。さすが英語上手だね。
Yeah, I'm pretty good at English. Just kind of.
Only.
Any comments?
They're going too fast. I can't.
You cannot see. You must go to my stream to have no comments.
まあ例年だと
No comment.
発表会っていうのをね、わざわざやるのはやっぱり
What?
世界中
Okay, so every time he's done this showcase,
コロナウイルス
he's
対応ということでなかなか Final Fantasy XIV フェスティバルかな
wears a shirt related to like a new thing.
それができてないと。
What the hell could this be?
So usually around this time of the year, or even earlier, we would be holding a Final Fantasy fan festival to announce our new expansion. But because of the pandemic, that has limited us.
Yep. We would have already known what the expansion was called by now. We've already seen where we're going.
まあやっぱりどうしてもこう僕らもね世界に打って出てまあアナウンスするっていうのが難しい状況の中で今回は日本で映画館を借りてですね皆さんにファイナルファンタジー14の最新情報これからの未来をお届けしていこうと思います。
Because there are people around the world putting out their most to fight this pandemic and make sure that it doesn't spread any further, we've decided to hold this announcement showcase here in a theater in Japan to do our part.
で、まあ、パッチ5.2から
Hey,
5.3の間で
welcome,
約2ヶ月半から
amateur.
3ヶ月
I'm already wrong on a couple predictions. I did a little prediction thing, and I'm already wrong on the title. Turns out, Square Enix might actually be making some stupid game called Forspoken.
Right around the development between patch 5.2
But now but this game is called Endwalker, which is actually a way better name.
for about 2.5 to 3 months, and because of that,
Endwalker,
affected,
yes.
the release date of Endwalker.
ですので今日はですね、ファンフェスティバルの基調講演1回目プラスアルファぐらいで、聞いていただければ、この先ね、デジタルファンフェスもあります。今回とそのデジタルファンフェスと2回に分けて、この最新拡張エンドウォーカー、行月のフィナーレのお話を
But now I get to
したい
say,
と思います。
yes, that's Yoshi P.
This announcement showcase as our first big fan festival, like the keynote announcement that we have at our first fan festival. And then, of course, later in the year, we're going to have our digital fan festival, and there we'll be releasing even more information.
Ah,
というわけで今日は可能な限り、新情
man.
報をお届けして
So this is not going to be much, I
Right?
guess.
So today we're going to try to tell you as much as we can.
さあ、まずはですね、トレーラー、先ほどご覧いただきました。まだまだティザートレーラーではありますが、世界のね、週末を思わせるような、惨状が巻き起こっていました。
So you just saw our first teaser trailer, and even though it was a teaser, it was filled with lots of exciting information about Endwalkers and the.
Yeah, for some reason we can go to the moon.
暁の面々
We're going to Final Fantasy IV this shit.
対抗しているような様子が描かれてましたね。
And we saw how the Warrior of Light and members of the Scions were again battling against the coming of the final days and for trying to prevent it.
というわけで、こちら、ファイナルファンタジー14 6.0
The problem I have is
行月
fall.
フィナーレと読みます。
That's a long time.
2021年
I mean,
秋を
that
目指し
means
て開
you
発を進めており
you
ます
still have 5.5,
And so,
and then
our
are they
newest
going to do a
expansion,
5.6?
6.0 Endwalker is slated for release in fall of 2021.
そういえば、工事、ファイナルファンタジー14 9.1.0からね、
Because like 5.4 came out
くれてるよね。
2 months ago.
Around since 1.0. So
今日実際この放送を見て
And
くだ
then
さってる方にも多分ね1.0から
I'm assuming like 5.5 is like late March, early April.
as well that have been around since 1.0.
コメントを見ると
He's checking comments on Twitch and YouTube. How many people? And it's like, yeah, I cannot
す
see.
ごいたくさんいらっしゃいますね。
Too fast, too fast.
このアートワークですね、実は1.0の時に
But I guess,
似
like-
たような構図のアートワークがございます。若き日の
Of
ね
course, the class that gets to be up top is the paladin.
A similar type of artwork that we had back from 1.0, back when the Warrior of Light was a lot younger.
News on 16? No.
doing a similar type of pose.
I doubt we're going to get news on 16 here.
時にね、ちょっとその成長というかね、
Because this is only about 14.
見たので、そういったところもね、見ていただけると嬉しいかなと思います。
We'd like players to take a look at this and remember back to that 1.0 Warrior of Light and see how he has moved forward and see how he has developed over the years.
まあ僕もね、年取りましたね。
Yeah, we've also come along in years as well.
というわけで今回、このなんだろうプロモーションでね頑張っているこう光の戦士今回は主役ナイトジョブに、ジョブチェンジして活躍してくれそうです。
And so, as you can see here, our Warrior of Light, he will be fighting this expansion as a paladin.
さてでは早速中身について触れていこうと思うんですが、こういうタイミングいつも僕ストーリーのお話からするんですけど、
Okay, so now we want to get into a little bit more of the content of Endwalker. And usually at this point in the keynote, we'll start talking about the story.
さっきねトレーラーの中に気になる
So am I going to be right? Is this all going to be like a ploy by Xenos to try to summon Heidelin or
As you saw in the
Zodiac?
trailer, there is something that was very important, and we want to touch upon that before we get into the story.
What? Oh, the Alphanoid's class job thing.
新たなジョブを
Because it was definitely a healer with like weird magic tech
2
bits.
つのジョブを実装させていただこうと思います。
So for Endwalker, we are planning the release of multiple jobs, 2
Multiple.
new jobs.
Yep, 2.
前回の思い出す、
Yeah.
ファン
I that I'm right about too.
ですね、ヒーラーが
I like the class. I played that as the main one.
言われまして、
So it passed.
I do like it that they finally gave us the ability to of a gap closer.
A lot of feedback from players all around the world saying that we didn't have enough healers and we
Yeah.
needed new
Yeah, that of course healers.
今回は先に、
So I'm right on 2. I'm right that 1 is going to be a healer.
ロールを、お伝えしてしまおうと思います。
I just don't know what it's going to be.
Into which new jobs are going to be releasing, we want to tell you at least which roles those 2 jobs will be.
It's going to be healer and caster, right?
世界中からご要望いただいたヒーラーを新たなジョブとして、一つ実装させていただきつつ、もう一つ
Astrologian and
物理
scholar.
をする予定です。
And so the first role will be healer, and the second will be melee DPS.
Oh, I'm wrong on that. Fuck. Half right. Half right. A healer was a guarantee. I assumed that we're going to get another caster.
予想が結構見えてて、どっからその予想が出てきたのかすごい不思議なんですけど。
So we've been checking out, how
If it's going to be a melee DPS, it might be Beastmaster.
the new job to be, and the guesses have been kind of off for the most part.
あの
It's like, yeah, everybody's been guessing like chemist or some. Yeah, it would be, but I didn't make a
So, yeah,
bingo
we're not
card.
talking about any
Yeah.
sumo wrestlers for that melee DPS. It will be something different.
今回トレーラーに登場していた、アルフィノ、彼がまさに新ジョブへとジョブチェンジしております。
So, as you saw in the trailer, it is Alfino that has changed into that new job specific to Enwa.
今日はですね、その2つ実装するジョブのうち1つ、ヒーラーの新ジョブについてご紹介していこうと思います。
So today, at this announcement showcase, we'll be revealing one of the 2 new jobs, and that will be the healer job.
では早速ではありますが、その新ヒーラージョブ
It's like a magic tech healer, so I don't know what that even would
So
be.
rather than explaining it, we'd first like
I don't know, and it usually relates to something, either a class or a race. Wait, those are Aetherites. It's like a doctor class. Yeah, it's a caster. Sage. Ah.
今回ですね、行月のフィナーレ、新ジョブ第1弾は
Everybody's been predicting like chemist, but I guess this works.
賢者というジョブ名になって
The better white mage. Maybe.
the first new job for Endwalker is Sage, sporting a unique ether-imbued weapon.
ちょっとね CG でもご紹介してアートと CG でご紹介していこうと思い
We
ま
have
I miss-
some CG and some art that we'd like to show you.
I'm assuming that like the whole point is
す。
to
そうですね
build up
オリ
those
ジナルの武器を操ることになります。
those
So, as you
Aetherites.
can see, the weapon that the main arm that the Sage will be using is a Final Fantasy XIV original.
まあ
Yeah,
アルフィノが
that's
どのようにこの新ジョブ
But it looks like one of those Aetherite crystals that they have like
ストーリーの方で語られていきますので、そこはねストーリーの方をご覧いただければと思ってます。
So why did Alfuno happen to take up this new profession? You'll have to play through the main story of 6.0 to find out.
では賢者のその特徴を簡単にではありますが
Why did Alphino do it? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, both him and Alize were like, we didn't get any new things.
まあ一つ目、まあヒーラー
Hila.
先ほどねお伝えしましたロールはヒーラーとなります。
So as we mentioned before, the role is going to be a healer.
白魔導士、学者、それから先生術師に続く第4のヒーラーとして、今回賢者が追加となります。
And so Sage will be our fourth healer behind White Mage, Scholar, and Astrologian.
そしてですね、武器は剣具という14オリジナルになりますね。
Now
武器を
lifts.
使います。
As we mentioned before, the main arm for the Sage is going to be a Final Fantasy XIV original called the New Liths.
New
まあ
lifts.
魔力で
Okay.
これを操作するっていう感じなんですけど、後ろにある4つの、武器、あれがグラフィックス変わっていろんな
I do like
武器
its design.
というふうに思います。
I think this really looks.
Is controlled by the ether, by the magic.
Yeah, they really look cool, because I do like the float kind of the concept of floating bits,
The visuals of
things
the
that come
change
apart.
depending on what type of weapon is equipped.
そしてですね、当然クラスの方は、ござい
Yeah,
ま
of
せん。
course
ジ
none.
ョブからいきなり
I don't know why they have this,
As has been the case recently, there is no required class, and you will start directly from the Sage job.
because like that hasn't been we haven't had a required class since
固定しております。
really
And the starting level
3.0.
is planned to be 70.
Okay.
いずれかのですね、ジョブがレベル70に到達していて、この行月のフィナーレ、エンド
Will it have, like,
ボス
class-specific
獲得でき
quests,
れば
though?
すぐにでもね、始められるようになってます。
Because
So there are two conditions for playing the Sage. One is that you have at least one job, one other job that is level 70 or above, as well as you have purchased the Endwalker expansion.
so same as it ever
さあ
was.
では
Same as it ever was.
えー
Same as it ever was.
So let's take a little bit, take a look at the battle style of the Sage.
今回実装となる賢者聖司はバリアヒーラー
I'm just wondering about like its story bit, because 70 means that that's the
Barrier
level range for
えー
Shadowbringers.
今まで
So like
バリア
your
ヒーラー
very
というのは
first thing is going through the Shadowbringer stuff.
白魔同士がねピュアヒーラー
I'm wondering if they're just gonna add like
学者バリアだ
they'll be the only class that has a class story at 70,
じゃあ賢者はバリアヒーラーとして実装される
or
と
from 70 to 80,
じゃあ先生術師はってな
since all the 70 to 80 ones were role
So
quests.
as you know, we have
Oh hey Zen, welcome.
healer, and then we
You,
have our
we're
Scholar.
learning about the new Final Fantasy XIV expansion.
This time, the Sage
um,
is also going to be a barrier healer. That
No,
Astrologian.
don't.
ヒーラーはですね今回
The new expansion is called Endwalker. The new class is a healer called a Sage. They have these cool, weird bit things. It's cool. We might be going to the moon.
どう変わっていくのかお伝えしようと思ってますが、ロールとしてはヒーラーの中でもピュアヒーラーとバリアヒーラーが分かれていくというふうに思ってください。
So, starting in 6.0, we are planning to make a clearer distinction between pure healers and
I
barrier
know.
healers. We want to have two pure healers.
Yeah,
and barrier
this
healers.
would be the thing that
So
they would
with 6.0,
want to
plan
see.
on, performing some tooling of the Astrologian job to make the Astrologian job
Hey,
a
Spencer.
pure healer.
もちろんですね、レイドファインダーとかのマッチングもちゃんとピュアヒーラーとバリアヒーラーでマッチングするように、そちらにも手を加えていくつもりです。
And this will extend to our matching in the raid finders to make a distinction between barrier healers and pure healers.
He's checking comments again. Stop checking comments, Yoshi. Hey, thank you for the follow.
早すぎてわからないよね。
Way too fast, we can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, it's moving too
そして
fast.
ですね、武器に関しては魔法によって剣具という武器を操って
Heals and protects the party with barrier.
攻撃だったりバリアを張ったりということをやっていきます。
And as we mentioned before, the Sage will use Ether to manipulate their weapon, the Newliths, in combat, whether that be for healing, whether that be for attacking, or whether that be for putting up barriers.
それからですね、まあこれファイナルファンタジー14は各ジョブでゲーム体験を変えていくっていうところをコンセプトにしてるんですけど、賢者の場合は一時的に、自分の魔法を強化していくっていう
The concepts.
新しいそのプレイ感っていうのを目指して開発を進めています。
And because we try to make our jobs unique from the other jobs to give a different kind of experience for each job, we're trying something here with the Sage where they're able to temporarily augment their own magic abilities to make them more powerful.
まあその攻防一体っていうところもあったりして、いろいろまたこれまでのヒーラーとは全然異なる体験をお届けしようと思ってますので、ぜひ楽しみにお待ちいただければと思います。
We believe the experience that we will be providing with the stage will be completely unique and a lot of fun.
Hopefully it will be, because like I never cared much about astrologian, and I didn't care about like pet heals with scholar. So this one might be the one for me, outside of like doing white mage, which was just, oh, I'm healing. Look at me heal. Look at me heal with my
So
heals.
this job quest for the sage will be offered in Limsa. So if you want to play the new 6.0 main scenario as the sage, you will be able to do that.
もうね、さっきからですね、僕コメントをね、こうちょっと拝見していると、なんかね、ガンダムとかファンネルっていう単語が出てるんですよ。
Well,
So you're looking at the
his
comics,
shirt
we love
definitely
the
has
Gundam
nothing to do with the
Gundam,
sage.
The new lists are kind of Gundam-like.
よくわかんない。それに関してはね、まあここに書かれてる通り、まあノーコメントとさせていただきたいです。
No comment on
ケングです。お忘れなく、ケン
These
グ
are
という
called
武器です。
new lists. It's completely original.
はい。ではですね、これらを踏まえて、ちょっとイメージついたと思うので、それを踏まえてですね、もう一回動画をご覧いただこうかなと思っております。
All right, so with all of this in mind, let's have one more look at what the sage can do in that showcase video again.
So is it just gonna be the same thing again? Because like, I job quest. Oh yeah. We know limbs and limits. Like, go please. Oh no, everything's fucking up. Oh no, they fucked up. Okay. It wasn't the thing. No, it's just the exact same showcase again. So for those who missed it. As I said, I like this as a concept for a class of just like having little floating bits around you that you send out into battle. Because conceptually, this is cool.
さあ、というわけで、動画ご覧いただきました。
Right, and so that was the job showcase video.
まあなんかちょっとおしゃれでスタイリッシュ。
Eh?
It's a very stylish job, you could say.
What?
Wait. Yoshipi?
はい。
Why did you,
Sure. You were hot.
暑かった。
Uh-huh.
neighborhood,
And
the
anything else?
filth and...
Something else?
いや、ノーコメント。
Okay.
What? Okay, what is this concept? He's changed his shirt. It means something. It always means what the next thing it might be. The filth and the fury.
次のですね、デジタルファンフェスティバルの方でお届けしていこうかなと思っております。なんかコメントがね、すごいザワザワしてるんですよね。
I'm lost on what this could be.
Look forward to this new Sage job. Concerning the second job that we have planned for release in Endwalker, we will be revealing that in May at the Digital Fan Festival.
In a couple of months.
いるじゃん。
Dark Knight? People are
Dark-
guessing that the second job is Dark Knight?
Oh shit! Dark Knight!
なぜか急にネクロマンサーとか言ってる声も。
Necromancers.
Hmm.
さてなんだ
Necromancer weird.
Necromancer.
よくわからないですね。まあ、そういうわけで、さらなる新情報に関してはまた後日お届けしてい
Yes. We will have more information on the new job at a later
お
date.
ります。もうなんかネクロマンサーか力士かって書いてあって。
That would be a weird type of necromancer if it was like a melee-oriented necromancer.
Not
さあ、続いて、じゃあセクションを進めていこうと思います。
Alright.
続いては、ストーリーにちょっと触れていき
Ah, story!
ております。
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the story in Endwalker.
その前にですね、ちょっとタイトルにご注目いただきたい。
Okay, to start, I'd like to draw your attention to our title.
Yes.
ファイナルファンタジー14
Okay.
Yes?
Final Fantasy 14.
ウ Fukuoka.
Endwalker.
Yeah, you.
行月のフィナーレ。
You translate this. This is the Dawn Moon finale.
ファイナル、エンド、フィナーレ。
Final end finale. I sense a pattern.
意地でも終わるのかみたいな。
It's gonna end.
このキーワードが
Are we-
示すのはメインストーリーの大きなサーガとして約10年にわたって
This is it.
お届けし
Isn't
て
it?
きたハイデリン・ゾディアーク編と呼ばれているサーガが今回、この 6.0 行月のフィナーレで完結を迎えます。
So final end and finale. These are all keywords that allude to the ending of this 10-year saga of Hydaelyn and Zodiark.
Yeah.
こちら
That kind of is part of it.
から続けてきて
Xenos is doing something to take out Hydaelyn, to bring out Hydaelyn or Zodiark, is what I was thinking of.
So if you look back at my history
Maybe.
with Final Fantasy
It
XIV,
might be the end, or it might be the same as like what they're saying with
性の
the Asians, where
look at this as
all the Asian stuff ended with Shadowbringers.
a new morning.
そして拡張パッケージ第1弾ヘブンズワード蒼天のイシュガルドはまあ蒼天の昼かなと。
And so then we move on to our first large
14 too.
Heavensward, which represents
But like,
that
there's so
clear
much
blue
you
sky
have
that
in the
we have
world.
at
There's
midday.
2
そ
whole
してこの
continents.
拡張東方にも光の
So I don't know if this is going to be.
ありました。
And then on our second expansion, the Warrior of Light headed east.
ストーンブラッドグレンの日暮れと。
And in Stormblood, we came upon a crimson twilight.
そして世界中で非常にご好評の声をいただいた、前回の拡張パッケージシャドーブリンガーズ、漆黒の夜となっております。
And then finally, our most recent expansion that was praised around the world by fans. We have Shadowbringers and the Black of Night.
そして今回次なる拡張パッケー
A
ジ
new dawn.
エンドウォーカーによって
So this might be the end of current story arc, beginning of new
命を
one.
巡る物語というのがちょうど綺麗に一周するところでハイデリンゾディアーク編完結させていくつもりです。
I like how that looks like a fucking starship.
Full circle in the tale of life and Hydaelyn.
A new Genesis. Everything old gets renewed again.
これまでの拡張パッケージちょっと注意していただきたいんですけど、例えばですが今回前回のシャドーブリンガーズ、まあ、今パッチ 5.4 まで来てますが 5.0 単体でのもちろんエンドロールっていうのもありますが漆黒のヴィランズの物語が綺麗に最終的に完結するのはパッチ 5.3 でした。
So normally with our expansions, as you know, we don't end the story at that first expansion. While in 5.0, for example, we did get that end credits at the end of 5.0, the story wasn't actually finished until 5.3.
今回はこの 6.0 その
Is he going to start spoiling 5.3?
完結させるつもりです。
However, with Endwalker and 6.0, we plan on having the story complete itself by the end of the actual expansion 6.0.
ただですね、
Eh?
ちょっとコメントすごいザーザーしてるんですけど、これでですね、もちろんファイナルファンタジー14が終わってしまうわけではございません。
But of course, this does not mean that
The
we
end.
are shutting down Final Fantasy 14 and ending the game at this point.
Not yet.
6.1 からはハイデリン・ゾディアーク編とは異なる新しい物語をスタートさせ
Maybe in Japan it kind of is.
Beginning in patch 6.1, this will mark the beginning of an entirely new adventure separate from the Zodiark Hydaelyn saga.
Okay, so
そ
it's
してですね、同時にですね
ends the current story,
みたいな
continues in 6.1. We'll build from there.
I've also seen some people thinking that Yoshipi is leaving the project at this point.
私はやめません。
He's a producer. He can produce multiple games. He can produce 14 and 16 at the same time.
言われるまではライフワークのようにファイナルファンタジー14続けていきますので、ぜひですね、まあもちろん 6.0 楽しみに遊んでいただきたいんですけど、その先もですね、まあ死ぬまで頑張ろうかなと思っているので、ぜひこれからもですね、14ともどもですね、僕もよろしくお願いします。
But I want to assure everyone that I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving the project. I look at Final Fantasy 14 as my life work, or at least until the president tells me to stop. for me, yes, 6.0
You need to
is the end of
stop.
the story, but from 6.1 on, we have an even greater story.
It's making too much.
I
Well, no, it's not.
personally feel that I'm
It's
probably
well,
gonna
it's making
play
money for the
Final
company.
Fantasy 14
Now, whether or not the company actually gives that money back to the team,
そろそろやめんじゃないのみたいなの出るんですけど、やめるときはちゃんと言いますし、まあやめる気はないので大丈夫です。はい。
Every now and then I do hear a lot of rumors about people thinking that I might quit and leave the project. If I will leave the project, I will make sure I let you all know. But for now, I feel that this is my life work and I have no plans on leaving.
結構厳しいですね、皆さんね。
It's
死
his
んでも続けろ
baby.
って書いてある。
really, he needs to be head of Final Fantasy. Period. I feel like he has much more of a concrete vision of Final Fantasy.
下操る方じゃないの。自分を操るの。死んだら
That's why I'm happy that he's making 16.
はい。
Like, I know people who
Right, I'll do my best.
who look at 14 and go, "Oh man, I would love that game if it wasn't an MMO." And of course, 16 hopefully will have that entire feeling of yes.
Again, please do not worry. We're working very hard on the 6.0 story, and we believe it's something very exciting, and hope you look forward to it. And we're working on stuff after that as well.
じゃあストーリーの前段をちょっとまとめてみましょうか。
So let's take a look at the actual content of this story.
第一世界
What about the final days brought the mighty ancients to the knees, then cover Myriad of Hydaelyn, Zodiac, and deepest means still the warriors. A journey to the moon! Oh god. We're not even going to Garlemald, we're just going to the moon.
そもそも太古に起きた終末とはまあ何だったのかとか。
So your journey up until now has taken you to another world, the first, where you became the warrior of darkness and averted the destruction of the star. And there you learned of the final
Maybe they do.
climate is
Maybe
set
that's where all the
in
Melviera are. They're on the moon.
まあ、ゾディアーク、そしてハイデリンとは今どうなってるのかとかね。すべての謎を解き明かすため、プレイヤーの皆さん、光の戦士はついに惑星ハイデリンを離れ、月へと向かっていただくことになります。
So what is going on with Zodiac and what is going on with Hydaelyn? How does their story end? We'll learn all about that, as well as depart from Hydaelyn and move to the moon.
多くのですね、人から受け取った思いを受け継いで、光の戦士はハイデリンゾディアーク編最後の謎に挑んでいきます。
People across Hydaelyn are putting all of their hopes and dreams into the Warrior of Light to
We're
save
going
them
to the
from this
moon.
massive
We're going to
evil
fight
fate
Final
and
Fantasy
a
IV
journey that
bosses.
will take the
Golbez will
Warrior of
be
Light
there.
to find out
We'll
what's
see
going on and
Golbez.
テレポしたら、なんとたったの999ギルって書いてある。
I just wish they would just show us what
For a
Ilzabard
total of
looks like.
199 gil, you can teleport to the moon.
いや、わかんないよね。
Who
ね
knows?
え、9万ギルとか取られるかもしれないよね。
What? 90,000 gil to the moon.
で、まあ、これまでね、ハイデリンゾディアーク編、漆黒のヴィランズでもかなりの謎を解き明かしてきましたが、
I wonder if they're not going to announce the 14
So a lot of questions
or
have been
bring
answered
14
until
to like
now,
the current
but
gen
there's still a lot of questions
PS5
left to be answered.
because I also expect them to talk about that.
終末というのはそもそも
What brought about the final days? What became of Hydaelyn and Zodiac? What would be the Garlian Empire's fate? What is Xenos and Fandel's aim? What is found on the moon?
And what is happening with them now?
そして
I mean, Xenos is just gonna find Hydaelyn or Zodiac and absorb their power, and then become safe for Xenos, and then we fight them. Well, boom, 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 doo doo, plays in the background.
What has happened to them? What is their fate?
そして活動し始めたゼノスとアシェン・ファダニエルの目的は何なのか。
And what are Xenos and the Ashians, Fan Daniel's aim, and what is their plot?
そしてですね、
Ah.
月行くのに
You kind of have to know what's current with Shadowbringers. So, like,
みたいな
the final days refers to the final days of the Asians. Hydaelyn and Zodiac, which are the gods, are primals.
What type of monster?
Garlean, right now, the Garlean Empire is in like a massive civil war. Xenos is still around, and Fandaniel is an Asian that is one of the unsundered ones that wants to destroy the world.
Worked very hard on this story to make something very exciting and to give
And
you
the moon is
all
because
the
the Asians are on the moon
answers to all those
sometimes.
questions.
まあもちろんね、その時光の戦士
Because every time we go back to like
血明のメン
What was his name?
それからですね、託された古代人たちから託された
I forget which one. The white Asian.
それらはぜ
He
ひ
was always on the moon.
目でお確かめください。
So all of these questions will be answered, not just the fate of the Warrior of the Light, but also the fate of the Scions, and we'll find what is the dying wish of the ancients. All this and more we'll find out in Endwalker's main scenario.
まあね、月行ったらね、エヴァンゲリオンとかね、埋まってるかもしれないね。
We're gonna find Evangelion in the moon up there.
What? Oh no!
とキャラクターね、
The Lance of Longinus
Alright,
is embedded in the moon, and then
in the trailer.
まずアルフィノですね、今回。
Yeah, Alphino was in the trailer.
ジョブチェンジしています。アルフィノが着ている衣装が、新ジョブ賢者のジョブ専用装備のアルフィノバージョンですね。
Okay, and so first up we have Alphino, our new resident sage. The gear that he's wearing in the trailer is the Sage AF gear, but it's been designed especially for him.
そして双子の妹アリゼですね。
And then next up we have his twin sister Alize.
まあ引き続き彼女は赤魔導士としてどうやら戦っていくようです。
And as you can see, she is still fighting as a red mage. No job change for her.
でようやくですね、どうやら彼女新しいコスチュームに着替えるようです。ちょっとね、寂しそうだったんで着替えるらしいですね。
But she will be getting a costume change. She didn't get one before. She's finally getting one.
まあこのコスチュームがですね、
it has been like a
どういう
couple
ところに
expansions.
渡されていくのかというところにもちょっとご注目いただければと思ってます。
And you may be surprised to see who she gets it from and how.
そして続いてはですね、
Tatara?
アシエン・ファダニエル。
Okay, next up we have the Ashian Fandaniel.
まあ、転生組のアシエン・ファダニエルですが、グレー編に登場した朝日というキャラクターの体を、利用
Look at his nose pores.
がね、果たして
That's all I'm noticing is the nose pores on his his
So
face.
the Sundered Ashian Fandaniel, as you know, he currently inhabits the corpse of Asahi, who first appeared in Stormblood, but we still don't know too much about him.
結構ね、彼
He wants to destroy the world because he wants everything to
A lot of
reset to
people
zero.
love to hate this guy.
ただですね、大丈夫、ご安心ください。彼はラスボスではございません。
Do not worry, he is not the last boss.
まあ、ラスボスじゃないんですけど、まあ、
Of course, the last boss is going to be Xenos.
そちらもかなり完全な
A safer Xenos.
単純なお話ではないというのだけお伝えしておきます。
And he's keeping a pretty big secret, a very complex secret. And if we say any more, it'll be too much spoilers, so we're going to stop right here.
はい、そして
Can't
これ
spoiler this game.
出ましたね。
Right, and last but not least, we have
ゼノス、彼もまたですね、表舞台へと登場しそうですが、まあ、彼の望みはもうとにか
There
く
he is.
友である皆さん、
Bored as ever.
英雄と再戦したいというだけです。
and he's ready to take the stage once again, and he has a singular purpose. His one purpose in life is to battle with his friend and enemy, the warrior.
Rival? He is Virgil. He is pretty much Virgil. He gives, yeah, he does.
Yeah, and we
The
understand
fact-
that not a lot of you think of him as a friend.
The fact, no, it's not just that. The fact that he has katanas. One of the things that he does in the most recent patch is that he throws away his current one. He actually snaps it, and he's going to look for a new weapon. I am pretty certain he's going to be looking for the Masamune.
But to find out any more,
It's going to be a fucking long sword. What I'm saying, he
もっとたくさんのキャラクター登場してですね、ある意味ハイデリンゾディアク編、皆さんが10年以上にわたって、冒険してきた、一旦の総決算になる予定なので、どんなキャラクターが入り乱れてくるのか、ぜひご期待ください。
and you know, it has been 10 years since the beginning of this Hydaelyn and Zodiac saga, and you've met a lot of characters along the way, and we hope to bring back a lot of those characters for this story in 6.0.
まあ、ストーリーに
will
ついてはね、
will Hildebrand have a major part?
なのでちょっとこれ以上はね、
Wait, yeah, he did. He changed shirts between the job
There
shirt
are a lot more mysteries
and this
regarding
part.
the game's story, but it's so hard to talk about it further without revealing any spoilers. So
まあ、漆黒のヴィランズでもね、驚いていただいたように、
It's a hint at what the next thing they're going to reveal will be sometime. like in the next event, not now.
びっくりしてもらえる仕掛けたくさん用意していきたいと思います。
And as was the case with Shadowbringers, this story is not going to be a simple one. It's going to be a very complex and intricate story that will sure to bring lots of surprises and excitement.
はい、では、
Will one of those surprises be like dropped in the middle of a trailer? That'd be at E3. Because that happened with Shadowbringers, where one of the big surprise reveals, though not even the biggest reveal, was just dropped because like they're going like, oh yeah, eh? Yeah, no shit, 90. Ooh.
We're increasing the level cap.
こちらですね。
Wait.
80から90へとなります。
There's a black cat.
And
Look at the black mage. He has a little black cat.
pretty much everyone.
Is that part of the outfit?
100ですよ。
But we'll soon almost be at 100. We're very close.
ずいぶん頑張って続けてきたね。
It's been a long, long road.
はい、そして、拡張パッケージといえば新しいフィールドの追加です。今回も過去の拡張と同じ規模で、
No, that is kind of the whole summoner thing.
An expansion without new areas, and we're planning to add new locales on the same scale as we have had in our previous expansions.
ではですね、現段階でお見せ
Massive new area. Look at this area on the moon.
今日はちょっと一部になっちゃいますがご紹介していこうと思います。
So today we can't show much, but we do have a few screenshots and pieces of artwork to show you of some of the new areas.
まずはですね、ショータウン
So we're starting off with one of our smaller towns.
紹介したいと思います。
Wait, really?
こちら、
Ooh.
どこだこれ？
Wonder where this is.
こちらの名前はですね、ラザハンという、町になります。
And the name of this city will be Razathan.
もうちょっと近づいたね、スクリーンショット見てみましょうか。
Let's
Why does that remind?
はい。
This reminds me of like one of the floating city in Final Fantasy 12.
to the city.
ラザハンはプレイヤーの皆さん
Just a little bit more colorful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks like that. It's the town that you go in where Voss goes around going like, I'm Captain Ross von Rosenberg of Dalmasca. Don't believe Ondor's lies.
Each expansion, we usually release
It's more colorful than that.
Town and one larger town. This is going to be the smaller town for 6.0, kind of on the same scale as Yomor from 5.0.
じゃあ 6.0 でいうクリスタリウムに該当する大胆はどこなんだよって聞かれるとそれはまだ内緒です。
Now, as for what the large town is going to be like, we really cannot talk about that yet.
少し見てみましょ
So let's go inside the town. Take a look.
Ooh.
う。エーテライトが回ってますね。
There you see the ether right there.
今までのファイナルファンタジー14のまた文化圏にないところへ、行っていただくことになるかなと。
The design here has a cultural flair that's a little bit different from anything that we've seen in Final Fantasy XIV up until now.
で、まあこれどこなんだっていうとですね、まあこちらをご覧いただければなんですけど、
Davnet what?
XIV のシナリオにこれまで、
Wait, 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 whoa, 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 whoa.
島っていう場所が、たくさん
Davner.
言葉としては出てきてます。
I already know what that
Where
is.
exactly is Razathan?
Whoops.
Well, a lot of players that have been playing 14 for a long time will know.
It's a small island to the south.
Thavnair, the region of Thavnair, as it has appeared a lot since back in the early days of Final Fantasy XIV.
踊り子のね、ジョブの発祥の地でもありますね。
If you remember the dancer, most of the original
It's a
outfits.
that's an island little to the south. I probably can find this. Probably not. We're still working on Ishgard real estate.
ショータウンのラザハンがあるというふうに思ってください。
And so, one of our new areas is going to be that complete island of Thavnair, along with the town
Hold on.
of Razathan inside of it.
これまで登場してこなかった亜熱帯のようなね地域となってます。まあどんな冒険があるのか楽しみにお待ちください。
The whole area has a very
Whoops.
subtropical feel to it that is original to 6.0.
もう一個紹介していきましょうじゃあ。
All right, let's take a look at another location.
なんかもう一転してなんだこれみたい
What could this place be? It's completely different from Razathan.
It's
な。
Galdemar.
こちら新しいフィールドの名前はですね、こうな
Name
り
of
ます。
this
Yep.
field
帝国の首都のはずである
Guessed it
ガリ
right.
バルドがフィールドとして登場しますが、なんだか大変なことになってるっぽいですね。
The capital of the Garlean Empire, Garlemald, although it looks a little like it's broken down a bit.
こちらもですね、
Yeah, I kind of figured since the new map, they fucking ruined the capital.
どんな国だったのかなと思いきや、
Image in a
ボロボ
tab.
ロになってますね。
So we always
Ah.
thought of the Garlean Empire as a majestic place, but if you look at it here, it's pretty run down. I wonder what happened.
Nah.
まあ一体ね、どういう経
So
緯
we are going
が
there.
あっているのか、
We are
そ
going
して
to-
皆さんはどういう経緯
Well,
で
yeah, it's supposed to be. Like, the whole point is
謎ね。
the people who use
So
that
how
couldn't get
this area
the
turned
people who couldn't use magic,
why,
they were kind of forced into
the
the coldest
warrior might
reaches
have to go there, and what would he
of
find there?
the
まあここで
of
もね、非常に
Ilzabard.
大きなドラマが光の戦士皆さん
And that's where they found Ceruleum. That's where they developed magic tech
There's a
and whatnot.
very
So we are
intricate
doing
story that is
Ilzabard.
related to this area.
It's just that probably it's going to be like Stormblood, where it's both Ilzabard and the moon. So I'm half right.
Journey there.
Maybe.
そしてですね、まあ新しいフィールドがあると当然新しい出会いっていうのも、出てきます。
Do
And of
this
course,
again.
what would new areas be without new tribes to live in them?
はい。
Hi.
まあこういう新しい獣人たちとのね、
New
出会いってい
tribes.
うのも待ってますきっと。
So in 6.0, you will be meeting some new tribes.
なんか若干このセンターでさ、ナマズをさ、主人公感出してるのイラッとこない。
Also,
this
to
artwork,
kind
yeah,
of
you can see right in the middle is the Namazu kind of there, looking like he's the best, the leader.
なんか私が主役ですみたい
Yeah, he's the hero.
な。今回、
Come on.
ちょっと一部になりますが、新たな獣人、名前はマタンガ。
Ah.
その中でもアルカソーダラ族という、
マタンガ
種族が
just for a quick
So
second.
our new tribe that you will be meeting
So
are
all
the
of that
Matangas,
was over
which is
here, and then we saw the
Arkansas.
Garlemald Empire. So it's going to be just
出会ってる
Ilzabard
人は出会ってるんですよ。
plus the moon.
Some people may recognize
So.
This.
アジムステップでですね、非常に敵対してくるモ
Matanga.
ブハントのモンスターがいたりするんですけど、その中でも有効的な
It would be like, oh yeah, the Matanga is actually the.
先ほど紹介したサベネア島で出会いが待ってると思います。
So in the Azim step, especially those players that participate
Oh.
in the hunt, have maybe encountered one of these
Holy
very
shit!
aggressive,
Elephant men.
before. However, the ones that you will be meeting in 6.0, you'll be meeting in the Thavner, are a little bit more friendly. At least those from the Arkasoja tribe.
Is this Star? Oh yeah, they do kind of look like Star Wars
モ
aliens.
チーフでいろんなね、
Though I guess it matches because there is a real kind of Indian Hindu feeling to Thavner, considering the colors.
We
So I guess yeah, it makes
recognize,
sense that they're elephant
some
guys.
of the elephant-like,
Oh my god! I
designs
just
on
realized
some of the,
I
treasure
have
chests. We've gone
I
on
have
paths,
that elephant
tunneled
mount.
into that area, and seeing
This is going to be really weird if I'm riding my stupid elephant mount around that
獣
town.
人は他にもいるんです
It that it's going to look really really wrong.
ただまあね、月ですしね。
And we have many more tribes to introduce, but we can't introduce them today. Those will be saved for a later day. But thinking about it, we will be going to the moon, so
ファイナルファンタジーで月か。
going it's Final Fantasy, we're going to the moon. What could be on the moon?
Gobez.
またご紹介していきたいと思います。
No air.
はい、当然ですね。まあいい出会い
New
も出会い
threats.
もございます。
The
And again, you
Luminex.
won't be just making friends in the next expansion. There will be threats to deal with.
夜道では会いたくありませんが、まあこんなやつとの出会いがあったりします。
Fucking
And this is
Enema?
things that will be waiting for you.
Yeah, Anima.
かなと
You'll fight Anima.
There are fans of Final Fantasy X out there, and they might recognize this creature.
アニマという異形と出会うことになりそうです。
His name is Anima.
Yeah, I know.
まあ今回
It was Seymour's mother.
ファイナルファンタジー
Wait, will the Grado be on there?
がしたスタッフはファイナルファンタジー
The
14
the Guado, whatever they were called.
14用に
The Guado.
アニマを14用にですね、まあいろいろ利
Let's fucking Guado on the moon. We gotta exterminate.
The original designer of anima, the art designer of anima in
Nomura?
Final Fantasy X is actually a member of the art team on Final Fantasy XIV
Oh.
and recreated the design for
Oh.
anima to fit the Final Fantasy XIV game.
はい、そして、もちろん多数の新ダンジョンも登
Oh,
場してまいります
dungeons, of course.
And like our past expansions, we'll be adding a lot of new dungeons.
Anime.
こちらもですね、スクリーンショット
No, he loves it.
それから
He loves
まあ
anime.
等々ちょっと見てみます
That's why he ripped off Gundam for the weapon series.
まあほぼアートになっちゃいますからね
This is mostly art today, I guess.
もうなんか早くも世界終わりそうな感じになってますね
Look at this. It looks like we're getting close to the end of the world.
なんか巨大なものも立ってますし遺跡らしきものも見えますね
Like ruins and large statues.
なんとなくサベネアっぽいかなこれさっきね綺麗だったのにね
It looks a little bit like Thavnair, but a lot different from what we just saw.
そしてこんな場所も出てき
This looks like the Void
This
Ark.
is another dungeon.
一転してちょっと有機生命体っぽいところになってきてますね
Looks very biological, horror-like.
さらにさらにですね
Bahamut was a realm reborn.
今度は
Bahamut is like the entire coils of Bahamut.
Like a train, possibly?
まあ皆さんを待ち受ける
This is a space station.
基本的にはメインシナリオで言っていただくことになりますが、ファンタジー要素、それからまあ古い遺跡、それから、現代を思わせるような場所、
Yeah.
いろんな要素が、皆さんを待ち構えています。
And so, as usually is the case with our dungeons that we add, you'll be visiting most of them during the main scenario. But this time we have a wide variety of dungeons, some that are very high fantasy, some that have maybe ancient ruins, as well as some that have a very modern feel.
変化に富んだダンジョンをいろいろ
Yeah, because a lot of Stormblood was kind of samey.
ぜひ楽しみにお待ちください。
I mean, it was a couple of
Awesome
cool
for creating
ones.
all of these new exciting dungeons, and we hope you look forward to them.
それではさらにバトルコンテンツちょっと続けていこうと思うんですが
'Cause there was,
まあ
let's see,
皆
there
さんが
was
楽しみにしている
mines,
要素の一つかと思います
Ancient ruins.
Okay, now we're going to talk about another one of our battle
Oh.
contents that we have planned.
Yay! Okay.
そのエデンという
Any guest
シリーズ
designers?
パッチ5.4で無事に完結して我々開発
Is this gonna be the 8 man or
新
the
しい高難易度レイ
or
ド
the
の
9 or
新レイドの
24 man?
取り組んでます
And so, with the story of Eden finally concluded, we've been hard at work preparing a new 8-person raid.
こちらイメージイラストご用意しております
It's too early to give details, but we have some art to show you.
Okay.
どっかで見た
ASEAN?
人かな
This guy kind of looks familiar. Seen him somewhere before.
Wait.
このマークなんかどっかで見たことあるんだけど
Yeah, this mark, we've seen it somewhere before.
ラハブレ
Laha. Oh, Laha Brea. Laha.
こちら高難
But-
易度レイドのタイトルとしてバンマデンパンデモニウムというシリーズでお届けしていきます、
Oh.
We can tell you the title. The title will be Pandemonium.
はい
Oh.
この
That's some Final Fantasy II shit.
場所で行われる
Final Fantasy II's last dungeon is known as Pandemonium.
かなり特殊かなと思ってます
So we cannot talk about where this raid will take place. It's going to be very, very unique to Final Fantasy XIV.
まあ、今回ね 6.0 でハイデリンゾディアーク編というのをきれいに一旦完結させますので、まあ、それも含めてですね世界の、まあ、残された謎にまた、挑んでいくという形で
What about the 24 man?
オリジナルのレイドとして、お届けしていこうと思います
In conjunction with that story that we're completing of the Hydaelyn and Zodiac saga, we plan to tell this new, completely original Final Fantasy XIV story of Pandemonium.
はい
But it's named after a
レイド
two
の
thing.
高難易度だけではなくアライアンスレイドも、新しいシリーズをお届けしていこうと思います
And of
New
course,
Alliance raid.
it's not going to only
So we got Crystal Tower, we had the Void Ark stuff, we had the Evilise, we have Nier, which hasn't finished yet.
ダークアポカリプス、ニーヤシリーズ とのクロスオーバーで進めています。まあこちらもね、パッチ5.5また楽しみにしていただければと思うんですが、我々開発チームさらにその次の、企画を
It's weird. I don't remember a lot from two.
Approaching the end of the Yorha Dark Apocalypse Alliance raid, which will complete in 5.5.
It'll be
In the background, we're also working on a new alliance raid.
でこちら
Guest designer?
どんな内容なのかは
Guest design us?
次のデジタルファンフェスでお伝えしようと思ってるんですが、今回は14オリジナルのストーリー展開でお届けしますが、
Original story.
エオルゼアにある古くからある大きな謎を扱っていくので、まあ14との中、
Hello, Avalon.
サーガ完結、1個目のサーガね、完結に向けてかなり濃い話になっていくので、これもぜひ楽しみにしてください。
So we plan to release more info on this new alliance raid at our digital fan fest.
Eh.
We'd like to tell you that it is a completely original Final Fantasy XIV original alliance raid. It is not a crossover. And it will be centering on a piece of Eorzean lore that has remained steeped in mystery for a long time.
The New World.
Yeah, there's still a lot of
Two-P-
questions, that haven't been
2P's
answered
gone
yet,
now. So
ヒルディブランドかって言ってるから結
The
構
Hildebrand?
Hildebrand,
Brand alliance raid?
Hildebrand Alliance. When's Hildebrand? So no guest designers, I guess.
All right, let's continue on.
今回我々、6.X シリーズに向けてですね、新しい少人数の全く新しい PVP コンテンツを開発進めております。
So we're also
But I'm kind of not.
working
It's kind of
on
good that we're
PvP
getting
content,
like
but
original
it's
content, I
small scale
guess.
than what we currently
Because I
ま
mean,
あ、フィーストをね、この先どうしていくの、今ある少人数 PVP の
both.
どうしていくのってまあ
I mean, the last two expansions have been,
僕らが今、
let's see, kind of rehashing content in a weird way.
フリーロールでもっとカジュアルに
I mean, you had
熱くなれる
Eden, which has Eden and then a bunch of old bosses remixed,
So currently,
except for like the last boss. The last boss is
new PvP content
the last
that
tier had
features,
3 cool new
magic more
bosses.
immersive, by removing role restrictions.
でこれまで以上にマ
え
ッチングしやすく
Oh, roll. This is PvP. I don't care PvP. Fuck PvP. But then you had the 24-man raid, which was near, and then like in Stormblood, you had it be Evilise / Tactics, and then you had the 8-man in Stormblood be tournament mode, where it's like bosses from 5, bosses from 6, chaos from 1, and then fighting Omega.
全く新しい報酬カテゴリーというのを用意して、いろんな人に楽しんでもらえるように、鋭意ね、企画の方を進めてます、開発進めてるので、こちらも続報にぜひご注目いただければと思います。
And we're also working on a new type of reward system for this new PvP as well, that doesn't focus solely on gear. Of course, there'll be gear, but we want to have a new category of reward as well. To again,
It's called cosmetics.
a lot of new players.
はい。
New rewards,
で
special
もちろん
effects.
バトルコンテンツ以外にも大小さまざまな、コンテンツ遊び実装されていきます。
Okay, in addition to battle content, we also have a lot of other content as well.
じゃあサクサクいきましょう。
Let's take a look.
まず新たな
Side
サイド
quest.
クエストも
We're going to continue with role
していき
quests.
ます。
So we are planning to add a lot of new quests.
今回その漆黒のヴィランズね、新たにロールクエストっていう仕組みが実装されましたが、もちろん今回も用意されてます。
And with 5.0 and Shadowbringers, we introduced a new system, a new type of quest called role quests. We plan on continuing those in 6.0.
でただちょっと漆黒のヴィランズと一部変更させていただいてます。
But we're going to be making one slight change to that system.
これまではタンク、ヒーラー、近接 DPS、遠隔 DPS という4つのロールに分けてロールクエストを展開してました。
So up until now, there were originally 4 categories that
So
we
I guess you get 5 because like the range,
melee DPS and range DPS.
さすがに
because range physical and range magic is 2 separate ones.
ヒーラー、近接物理 DPS、遠隔物理 DPS、魔法 DPS というふうにロールを1個追加して、クエストをご用意しようと思ってます。
But we're going to now be expanding that from 4 different types to 5 different types, making
Yeah.
it tank, healer, melee physical DPS, ranged physical DPS, and magic DPS.
まあ
Yeah.
その分ね、
Because like it's been weird to couple a couple the range physical, which is more of a support role,
More directly each type of role and make a deeper story.
もちろんギャザラ
Because I forget which one it was,
5.0 でいう民高原
but
みたい
like
な一つの場所によって
with how it worked in Shadowbringers,
ところももちろん用意して
I think it was like the
And then there's also plenty of role quests that are planned for
there was a guy that was an archer.
such as those
Yeah,
also
kind of.
crystalline mean.
Bard is kind of a ranged physical that uses arrows,
I want to tell you more
but also
about
has
that.
its songs as support.
About the large town yet, I can't say anything.
はい、もちろん多数のね新装備、それから
Oh,
新しい
hey.
クラフトギア、用意されてます。
Alchemist,
Of course,
warrior,
individual quests for
monk,
crafters, but also
red
we
mage.
developed plenty of new craftable gear as well.
それから続いてフェイスシステムにも、
Trust system
アップデー
updated.
トがあります
Does this get to
Next is
be extended to a Realm
our
Reborn?
trust system.
行月のフィナーレに向けてフェイスの NPC が追加となります。
We will be adding a special someone to join you as companion.
まあ
Eh?
きっとね楽しみにしてる人いると思うんだよな。
A lot of you have been waiting for this guy.
Wait, do I get to play
この方が
Estinian?
追加となります
And this is who it is.
Estinian has showed up. The trust system is essentially what Lala was talking about like a couple nights ago, where you can go into dungeons with NPCs. It was introduced in Shadowbringers. So like
We'll be joining
So
the
like
trust
the
system
first
as
dungeon you can go in with
and then being a melee DPS
a few
character,
different people.
this will hopefully help
Like
alleviate, that
Alpha Node, Alizé,
melee DPS characters in the Scions.
Thancred, Yestola, that stuff. And you basically do the dungeon as that. But it also requires you to do the main story. You can do it once for free, but then afterwards they have to be leveled up by the time you get to the end.
Why would a lone wolf like Estinian
But the
join
fact they're adding
Scions?
Estinian is
You
is
have
the
to wait to
thing
find
that
out,
people
but
will
information is
will
coming,
like.
if you play in 5.5.
裏切りそうっていう
Yeah, we're gonna have a dragoon on the moon.
He won't betray us.
ファイナルファンタジーシリーズの竜騎士って結構裏切るからね。
Dragoons in Final Fantasy usually betray.
No, they don't.
多分大丈夫だと思うん
Wait,
ですけど
okay,
He's betrayed
maybe in
us, we'll do it
4.
again.
フェイスという
Only in
システム
4.
の活用は、まあこれに、まあキャラクターの追加にとどま
Freya
らず
never,
一応今
Freya
実は
didn't
計画してる
in
ことは
9.
あるんですけ
Freya
ど
never
ま
betrayed.
だ今ちょっと計画中なので、今日具体的にお知らせするのが難しいです。
We're gonna jump there. We're gonna ride Estinian. That's how we get to the moon. Estinian does a big jump, and we ride on him.
はい、キャラを追加するだけじゃなくて、フェイスを利用してこんなことさらにできるよみたいなところっていうのは、今後の PLL とかでも、進捗があり次第お伝えさせていただこうと思ってます。
Again, not just adding new characters, but also adding new types of activities and types of duties for your companions to take part in. Again, we won't tell any more today about it, but we have exciting information coming up in future producer letter lives.
はい。そしてですね、続いてこちらゴールドソーサー
Oh, gold sauce in off day.
予定してます。 にまあ並ぶぐらいちょっと大きなものを今計画しております。
The current plan is to add something almost as big as the recent edition of Mahjong.
みんなどういうものが欲しいんだろう。
Sogi,
What does everybody want?
shogi,
やっぱりこう
blackjack,
Blitzball.
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 If they had blitz,
Fall Guys.
ボールガイズが欲しい。まあね、なんか今回のレイドで落ちたりしてる。
it's like, yeah, everybody asking for blitzball, they add in blitzball.
Snowboarding, Fall Guys.
やたら相撲って言ってる人いるんで、ね、さっきからね。
And sumo, of course, sumo.
はい、ちょっとこれまだ詳細が言えないので、ただかなり大きな、しかもプレイヤーの皆さんのキャラクターを使って楽しんでいける。
It's like, we're sorry to disappoint you, it's pachinko. You're getting pachinko.
コンテンツを今計画してます。これももうちょっとしたら多分お伝えできると思うので、お伝えしていこうかなと思ってます。
we plan on it being, again, like we said, plan on it being very big, something for all players, multiplay. But again, we can't talk too much about it now, as haven't enough to tell you. But we do have details coming in the future, so please.
Everything in May.
麻雀をね、丸ごと入れてしまうようなクレイジーな
Mahjong, and then you
まあ
get
何が起きる
shogi,
かいろいろ予想をしてい
and
た
you
だけれ
get
ば
pocket circuit fighting.
The team is crazy enough to put the full game of mahjong into 14, so we know that something big is coming.
続いては
We already have.
になります
Oh,
All right, the next we're going to introduce a new piece of content that we've been working on.
さて何やらね、非常に楽しそうなイメージイラスト
what?
が
There's a bunch of pets.
From the artwork, you can see that it looks pretty fun and relaxing.
こちらの、タイトルをですね
Island Sanctuary. Is this where I get to breed my pets?
What we have now is the island sanctuary.
Breed my minions. Make the Hildebrand minion mate with the shit. Yeah, that's a horse. There's horses.
We're currently working on this
They
content
gave-
where Final Fantasy XIV players, adventurers can enjoy a bit of slow living.
ギャザラークラフター
Harvest.
プレイしていなくても楽しむ
Oh
ことが
God.
できます
And again, this is
Harvest
something
Moon.
that is
Harvest.
limited to
That would be really
players.
good.
Anyone can play this.
まあもちろんねやってる人にも特典はあるんですけどみんなでプレイでみんなプレイできる
Of course, crafters and gatherers will be able
There's a
to do
tanuki.
different types of things here, but of course
You can tell that this is a. You can see that this is a tanuki. Has a little leaf on his head,
したり
for example,
but
there
they're
might be
censoring his
animals.
giant balls.
まあ
You can't see the
島を
balls.
開拓してねそこで取れた
Also, Garu.
で貿易
ガワ
をしていったり
And maybe cultivating the land of this uninhabited, deserted island, and then taking
Yeah,
it
no,
to various
it's
different
Harvest
ミニオ
Moon.
ンを
Final
放
Fantasy.
し飼いにしたりと、そういった要素満載でスローライフをね楽しむためのコンテンツになっております
maybe throwing your minions out there on the range and letting them roam.
コメントでまあ結構あってですねこれ開発チームこれね日本人限定のネタで申し訳ないんですけど我々開発最初のコードネームダッシュ島って言ってました
So the dev team has been calling this island the Dash Island from a Japanese TV show.
いや本当にズバリそういうまあ楽しみ方できるといいよねみたい
It's
な
kind of like that, where you take a deserted island and you know,
Right.
make it into something that's your own.
まあこちらですねパッチ 6.X シリーズ全体を通じてアップデートをし開拓を進めていくみたいな、構想で今開発を進めてますのでほのぼのとファイナルファンタジー14を楽しんでいる皆さんぜひねご期待いただければと思います
So players will be able to enjoy the activities in the sanctuary over the entirety of the 6.x series as we update it. And so I hope you're looking forward to it and the slow life that it brings.
そして皆さん現在進行形でですねパッチ 5.4 で、非常にねとある地域の復興に努力を捧げてきてくださいました
Next up is something that I believe you guys are all currently working on.
Yep.
そうです皆さん
The firmament is built. You can buy houses.
くださいました
So yes, crafters all over the world have poured their heart into the rebuilding of the firmament and Ishgard restoration.
イシュガルドの民がですね皆さん冒険者の皆さんに
We
感
do
謝
it.
の気持ちとしてですね
I mean, I didn't do anything.
冒険者に
I don't play crafters,
したいと
but they did it.
And inspired by that work, there is the city wants to present a
But
new housing area to those that have worked hard to rebuild the firmament.
Well, I mean, there is. You go to Limbs and Laminsa and you get a beach house.
ハウジングエリア追加した時と同じで 6.0 がスタート
It took us this long to get to Ishgard housing.
開放はします
So, just like we have since 4.0, at the release of 6.0, we will be opening the area for players to go in and look at.
ただほらやることすごいたくさんあるのでまあどの土地にしようかなっていう見学をしてもらってパッチ 6.1 のタイミングで購入できるようにというふうにしていきますのでぜひですね6.0空いてちょっとゲームプレイ落ち着いたらどうしようかなみたいなのを話し合ってもらえればと思います
So, at the launch of 6.0, players can go to the residential area and look around and see what might be a good place to get a plot of land. but the actual purchase of that won't be available till 6.1 because again, there's a lot of stuff to do in 6.0 before having to worry about
Yeah,
getting
you
a plot.
make your money now so you can put down the down payment.
他のハウジングエリア
And you gotta be really quick.
で用意させていただきました。
Really, really quick.
And currently the plan is to have the exact same number of wards as all of the other housing residential districts in Eorzea, as well as having apartments as well.
でまあもちろんね全体的にその
Yes, they, or at least I'm not really sure what's going on since. It was like essentially people were buying
And because we understand
who had shit tons of money, bought up a bunch of land,
has been given about this,
and then was trying to resell it for higher prices.
that there will be enough plots available.
And I don't know if they ever fully solved
い
it,
ただいたのは
but yeah, they had a housing crisis type of thing.
まあどうなりますかっていう感じではありますけど
Where it was people wanted land, but then only the super.
It will be
I have
exactly
like hundreds of millions of
building
of
now.
gil.
That's what we said, but it'll give you a very good idea of what that residential area will look like.
はい
Just buying entire wards.
ちょっと駆け足ではあるんですけど今回 6.0 でね実装されるまあ一部コンテンツのご紹介細かいところはまだまだあるんですけど
Yep.
また今後ファンフェスでよりね詳しくお伝えできればと思ってます。
But I'm not sure. I think they've settled that. I think they've made some changes. I'm not really sure. I haven't been paying that much attention to that part.
ちょっと大事なですねこの 6.0 からバトルシステムのメンテナンスを
Oh, battle system. Battle system change. Let's talk about battle
Now
system
we're going to
change.
talk a little bit about two important updates and adjustments that we'll be making to the battle system.
当然これまでの拡張パッケージ同様バトルシステムの細かい調整とかジョブアクションの調整それから各ねジョブに新しいジョブアクションの実装というのは普通にあります。これは普通にあります。
So, as with previous expansions, there will be a fair deal of fine-tuning when it comes to the battle system.
Couple of purges,
job actions,
new
and the addition
abilities.
of new actions.
でそれ以外に重要なお知らせが2つあるのでその2つをお伝えさせていただ
My
きます。
entire hard
Today, the two
bar is
announcements that I'm
full.
gonna make are
Even when I play on the controller, it's full.
まず1つ目、バトル計算式で使っている数字のデノミネーションというのを
Really?
させていただきます。
So the first big announcement today is that we will be performing a downscaling of the values, the numbers that we use in the calculations.
これはですね
I don't think we're at that point that we
ライブストリーム
needed
でお伝え
this.
させていただいてたんですが、まあこの
Like, I think 14 has had done a very good job about like keeping things within reason.
So we have just
It isn't WoW where it became millions
previous
and millions and millions.
and today I want to get into a little bit more detail.
It's less nerfs and more of like
なんでそれをやるのかっていうのを
you take a couple zeros
I
off.
want to tell you a little bit about what this entails and what it means for you.
Like it's scaled down, but it's like
解放していくたびに各ジョブのね
but like HP values and stuff like that go down.
And so since the release of A Realm Reborn, every increase to a job level cap sees an increase to the base job damage.
まあ大きなダメージが出せるっていうのは
But as I said, we're not at WoW levels where I forget if it was like I think it was Mists, where it's like you could get like a million HP by the end of Mists.
So, and I understand that it feels great to dish out a lot of damage to enemies, but after a certain point, it becomes very difficult to easily discern the numbers on the screen, as well as the numbers get bigger, the potential
Yeah.
other problems.
I mean, I understand this point. Like there's a good reason for it because if you see something going at 300k, it just becomes a thing of what's the difference between me hitting for 300k and me hitting for 299,998.
First thing I want to assure everyone is that we're not changing the formulas, we're changing the numbers that go into the formulas. That is what we're just downscaling.
まあちょっとこれプログラム的なお話になっちゃうんですけど扱っているその計算式に入ってくる数字の桁が大きくなるとですね
I mean, the best thing about this would be if you're doing it right,
収集みたいな
the
現
the
象が
um
起こりますね
how things scale while leveling becomes better.
Programming issue, but what happens a lot of times is when numbers get too big, it can cause overflow and revert things back to different numbers, and that can cause a lot of bugs.
で、これなんとか実は今まで出てきたバグでも何件かこれにもう該当する
Oh
バグが
man,
出てるんです
I love that they
私は
added
無理やりやってきました
one of the things they added in 14 was you can see you can see things go in the bosses. You see the percentages, and it always goes down in like whole percentages until it gets to the final percentage, and then it switches over to point. So you get to 1% and it's like 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, and whatnot. And so it hurts really badly when you get to see it do that, and then people wipe on like 0.1.
And that will end up creating bugs and delays in the game, ruining the experience.
そしてですね、ヘイト計算式というのがもう限界に来ていてですね、扱う数字が大きすぎて、今、タンクのヘイトって、
But I'm saying, like, even with the downscaling, all that means is that kind of how you have those scales of power, like, you kind of have to, with the patch series, you have to build up, like, oh, here's a jump, here's a jump, here's a jump. It's heartbreaking, but it's also one of those things that's like, yeah.
For example, this has already been pushed to its limits to almost its max.
It's one of those types of things that even if I was a game designer, I would put in just as the kind of like, yeah, you were this close, right? You were this close.
To the point where it might
You get to see the percentage, the fraction of the percent that you were at.
それからですね、フライテキストの表示限界、数字がたくさん並ぶじゃないですか。
Flying text.
あれがもう入り乱れまくる。当然、描画領域をすごい。
But I understand the reasons for this. It's like I just didn't think that it was the time for them to be doing this.
Flying text numbers when you deal damage and the number appears on the screen. These numbers are so large that it takes up a lot of space on the screen, as well as it's starting to affect the graphics rendering.
そしてですね、敵の最大ヒットポイントがもうめちゃくちゃな数字になっていて、これももうオーバーフローの原因になってしまう状態になってます。
And now with player damage being so high, the boss HP has seen an absurd increase, and this is causing problems as well.
ちなみになんですが、パッチ5.5、次に予定しているパッチ5.5に登場するとあるボスの最大ヒットポイント、調べてきました。
So, to prove our point, I'm going to show you the amount of HP that a certain boss coming in 5.5 has.
こちらです。
Almost half a billion.
4億4000万かな。
440 million HP.
まあこの4億4000万をみんなで削り切る光の戦士たちのまあ大体なんですけど
And you're doing like
The Warriors of Light will be able to.
you're doing like 30,000 damage per.
まあ
Maybe 40,000, 50,000.
まあでまとめてで何どうなんのっていうのをちょっとじゃあ結局どうなんの
But
っていうのを
considering computational type of things and storage, yeah, I can understand.
まずレベル51からレベル80までの数値の
Yeah, that's probably the best.
So the first thing we're planning on doing
Essentially, where
truncating the character growth from levels 50 to 80.
50 because that's the end of A Realm Reborn. So essentially, adjusting the values for the expansions, which I assume kind of was going to happen. Because if you reduce those numbers, you can reduce it to a level that you're probably back to right around the end of Heaven's Word. Because it's always going to be a jump, especially when you have those
For
patches.
example, again, the numbers that I'm going to be giving here are not the exact numbers, but this is just for
Because they have to increase during the patches, and then you hit new expansion, and those expansions have to start at somewhere in the middle of those patch numbers.
For levels 50 to 80, taking that from 5
So there's always a jump.
after each level to say 1% up after each level.
まあ特にヒットポイントとか火力の上昇の差っていうのがこれまでに比べて当然少なくやっぱり感じられてしまうかなと。
And so this will again look like it's affecting player HP as well as the amount of damage that a player deals.
まあなので
But on the other hand,
一撃のダメー
the
ジ
enemies are going to hit less and everything else.
やっぱり数字がちょっと小さい
It's a scale down. That's all it is.
And so what this will appear to look like is that when you deal damage, it will look like your damage has gone down.
でその一方でなんです
But
け
it
ど
does the same percentage of damage.
レベル81から
because the
6
enemies will
レベ
also
ル
be
90 ま
down.
でキャップが上がるので、レベル81から90までっていうのは、これまでのと同じ体感の成長度合いじゃないとつまんなくなっちゃうので、特に先端にいる皆さんは。ここの割合、成長を感じていける割合っていうのは、今までと同じ感覚になるようにするので、改めてレベル51から80までをギュッと圧縮して、81から90までの成長を感じていく部分っていうところは、今までと同じようなね、成長をね、ギア取り替えたら強くなったっていうのがちゃんと手応えとして出るような形にしていこうと思ってます。
That said, again, if we don't preserve the sense of growth that one might expect from a new expansion, from that raising of the level cap, that could also be problematic. And so what we want to do is we want to maintain that sense of progression between the levels 81 to 90. So while we would be truncating that progress from levels 50 to 80 and compressing that down from level 81 to 90, we will leave it in a position where it will feel the same as it does for every expansion for those final 10 levels, those new 10 levels.
同時にですね、やっぱり経験値の値も今ものすごい
that's
数
good.
字を扱ってるので、経験値のネクストまでの経験値とか、そういった経験値も全体的にギュッと
I mean, the
します。
oh god, there's always this point where people are doing new characters in the game, and like leveling a new character, you can hit like
なので次のレベルまで
in-game pretty quickly. In-game levels pretty
基
quickly.
本的に感覚は変わらないです。
So again, relatively, it'll be the same. It'll be, however, you'll be getting less experience for defeating
Oh,
enemies,
wait.
but it will take less experience to level up.
まあもちろん
Oh, it's a-
新しく出てキャップ上がるんで、そんなの
see,
なんだろう
it's not low experience game. It's just like reducing the amount gain and as the amount needed to earn.
We are releasing this new expansion. We are, going to make it easier to level up. So that is going
So
to
it's not like, oh, they're
プレイヤ
reduced.
ーサイドの攻撃力なんだダメージ
I assume that it's still going to take the same amount of time, period.
ダメージっていうのも当然それに応じて
Because like it always takes like 3 or 4 dungeon runs to level up in like an expansion.
HP and attack numbers will be going down. We'll be doing the same thing for monsters as well.
Yeah, it's essentially it's a visual nerf.
Relatively, everything will
That's all these things are.
で
Everything is going to go at the exact same pace,
っていうと
maybe a little bit
プレイヤー
faster.
が弱くなるわけではないですよと。扱う数字は小さくなりますけど、
So if it takes you a minute to kill an enemy now, it will take you the same minute to kill an
What
enemy
everyone
in this
remembers
expansion.
that this is the character not getting weaker. The numbers are going down, but relatively everything is staying the same.
ただ一つだけ制限解除という遊びがございまして、レベル例えば80の状態で、過去のコンテンツへ、強いまま行くみたいなやつに関しては今よりもクリアが難しくなってしまうと思います。
There is one thing, however, that will be slightly affected by this change, and that is playing as undersized parties. For example, as level 80, going back and playing some content as an undersized party, this may become more difficult.
ここはなん
Yeah, I guess it would.
遊びとしてその
Because if there's not that bigger jump in the power, it's going to be a lot harder going back to an older dungeon without that bigger gap, even if things have been reduced.
とは思うんですけど、ちょっとその部分に関してはちょっと今のところプレイヤーがねどうしても弱くなってしまう部分かなと思います。だから普通に世間関係の中遊んでる分に関しては数字のやり取りが小さくなるだけで別にプレイヤーが弱くなるわけではありませんよっていうのを、ご理解いただければと思います。
Regarding these undersized parties, we understand this is a large portion of what a lot of players enjoy doing, and so we understand that this is still something that we need to address. As to how we're going to address this, we're still in the process of finding that, and so that's something for the future. Otherwise, we want to, again, reiterate the fact that while the numbers here are going down, the player is not getting weaker. It's all relative.
さて、大体まずこのデノミネーションのところは大丈夫
I mean, in a way, it's like they're not getting weaker, but they are kind of. They're not getting weaker in relative to the level of the enemies around them. but they are getting weaker in relative to, you know, the gap. The ability to kill an enemy 10 levels above you currently has a bigger gap than it will be in next expansion.
80 with item level 530. If I use Fire 4 with no crit and no direct hit, I deal about 50,000 points of damage.
Is it really that big? Yeah, I guess it
I
is.
expect this to go down to about 10,000.
でまあそこからレベルが上がっていくとまたいつもの拡張のレベル1個ずつ上がっていった強くなった感覚っていうのはやるのでまあ大体5分の1ぐらいだと思ってもらえればと思います。
And of course, this will go up as the level goes up, but think of it as about reduced about 80%, down to about a fifth of what it normally was.
でこれはやっぱり長期運営をやっていく上では
The thing is that this can only be done so many times before you either have to do something like WoW did, where you reset it,
だから今回やったとしてもまた
just reset the levels,
もう一回デノミネーションさせてください
or you have to upgrade everything so it becomes bigger number.
長く続けていくっていう
To support the bigger
意思
number.
の表れだと思ってご理解いただけると大変助かります。
As we mentioned at the top of the announcement showcase, is that we expect Final Fantasy XIV to continue for many, many, many years in the future. And to ensure that we can do that, this is one of the things that we feel that we need to do. And that said, possibly another 10 years down the road, we might have to do this again. But again, this is basically, we're doing this to show you that we're committed to having the lifespan of Final Fantasy XIV keep going for many, many, many years.
はい。ではもう一つ、システムのお話をします。
Right, and then we have one more that we'd like to
Oh,
mention.
Q14 からですね、申請した時
that's kind of good because like belts have always been kind of weird.
なんですが
Many of you remember back from 1.0, we had this item. It was there, and even though the
Because
it was
it's
removed
always-
graphically, it remained.
Yeah,
ついにですね、
it's
削除と
belts have always been weird. Okay, belts is an item slot. It's on the left-hand side. It's treated as an accessory. It doesn't affect your character visually. It's just, it's always been weird that it's been there. But it doesn't have any visual indicator, unlike earrings and the necklaces and everything. It always felt like it always felt like a slot that you had to fill. I'm kind of glad, in all honesty.
Belts have no bearing on players' outward appearances. Their stat values as accessories is pretty negligible, and they're not. And because of that, they're not a very popular piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Yet they take up the same amount of space in our armory chest as other equipment. And we've even had lots of fans ask us to just stop dropping them in alliance raids because we don't need them.
Yeah, I actually do agree with removing it. Yeah,
I know
it's
a lot of people also
they-
complaining, talking about the rings, but
指輪もすごい
rings make more sense.
やっぱり左右別々のグラフィックスの指輪をつけるっていうことでおしゃれに使ってる人っていうのもいるので今回はやりませんでした。
And regarding rings, while we did consider this, we also understand that a lot of players, because you can put them on both hands and you can actually graphically see them on your players on both hands, we decided that we're going to not do that this time.
で結局どうなるかっていう説明をしていきます。
So we need to explain what's going to happen with this removal.
What's gonna happen with our belts?
6.0以降、
Okay.
帯防具は装備不可
No longer equipable with 6.0. What about the drop rate
At the
then?
launch of 6.0, belts will no longer be equippable.
そして装備中のまま6.0を
Calamity Scavengers.
外れて遺失物管理人という NPC が
I mean,
集まること
we already have gloves. It's just
So
like,
what happens to any belts that are equipped at the time of that switch over to 6.0? These will automatically be unequipped and moved to a Calamity Salvager.
リテーナーが装備したままとかいうのも全て遺失物管理人に我々移させていただきますので何かこう無理に急いで準備しなきゃいけないっていうことはないようにさせていただきます。
This includes retainers as well. So there's
I wonder how
rush
big of a pop
and,
this would have actually
unequip
gotten
any belts before that transition to
like,
6.0.
if there was a
They would
live
be moved
crowd.
to the Calamity Salvager automatically.
Because there was a big pop when they announced they were not going to do PS3 anymore.
However, materia, if
I-
you want to remove materia from it, you should do that before.
It's something. There's a Calamity Salvager in every major city.
帯防具一切排出停止となります。
Also, belts will no longer drop from any duties, and they'll be removed from elegant tones.
I forget what they really do. I think it was something that was to
じゃあ分かったよと。腰防具
remove like 1.0 items.
腰防具の35枠
Good.
どうすんだよと。
Okay, so now that we know that the belts are being eliminated.
Yeah, sorry. It's Calamity Salvagers are in every town. I think they have to do with 1.0 stuff.
15枠を主武器
Yay.
そしてもう
Good.
15枠をリングの方に回してそれぞれを50枠ずつに拡張します。
The plan is currently to take 15 of those 35 empty
Those are
slots
the
and
15
allocate
ring.
them to
The
main arms.
adding it to the rings would be great
Another
because
15 will be
the
allocated
rings,
to rings.
the ring slots
おいおい
were already
言ってんじゃねえかよ
pre-realm
これは
board.
すいません
The ring slots were always the ones that filled up.
していく努力のためにもですね5枠ちょっと一回リザーブとして僕ら
Really, you should be just doing all
And so a lot
of
people
it
saying,
to the
okay,
rings.
15 plus 15, that's 30. What about the other 5 slots? What's going to happen to those? We're going to take those and we're going to save them for a rainy day in case something happens. So we're going to keep those on.
Put them back onto the ring slots.
すいませんよろしくお願いします
Sorry, but thank you.
はいまあ近づいてきたらねまた詳しくトピックスでお知らせしていこうと思いますので、ぜひチェックしておくようにしてください
We will have a more detailed explanation of the removal of belts in an upcoming topics.
ではですねそろそろ、今日お伝えできる情報っていうのも、少なくなってきたんですが、ここで、まあ、長期的に作ってきた新しいシステムを最後に、お伝えして終わっていこうかなと思ってます。
All right, so we're nearing the end of our announcement showcase, but we have one more system-related thing that we'd like to talk about that we've been working on for a long time.
PS5? Like full PS5? Oh.
データセンタートラベルという
Oh. Wait.
でございます。
So currently, we're in the development of a new system called the Data Center Travel.
Yeah.
これはですね
Every server. You can go to every server.
まあワールドを超えて、別のワールドへ
Because right now you're only restricted to the shards within a data center. If you can move from data center to data center, you can play with anyone.
That allows players to move around between worlds called the World Travel System.
Yeah.
こ
Yeah.
れをですねまあちょっと全くそれと同じ機能っていうのはちょっと
Everyone can play with everyone, except for in a region, I guess.
ログアウトは必要なんですけどキャラクター選択画面から
Wait, actually, maybe it would allow.
遊びに行くっていう新しい仕組みを今回、開発中です。
So while this won't work exactly the same way as the World Visit System, we hoped that it can be similar. Although it will require, again, changing the system outside of the game and then logging back in.
その代わり他のデータセンターへ遊びに行った場合に、フリーカンパニーとかリンクシェルのチャットができないというちょっと、ワールド間テレポよりは
I mean, I assume there's going to be a good bit of restrictions to it, but
コンテンツへ行くみたいなことっていうのはできるのでまた改めて詳細にできることできないことっていうのの一覧がまとまったら皆さんにお伝えしていこうと思います。何はともあれデータセンターを超えて友達のところへ遊びに行けるシステムだと思ってください。
And so there will be a lot of restrictions with this, possibly even more than there are currently with the World Visit System. However, this will allow players to move freely to other data centers temporarily and party up with their friends, take screenshots, have a lot of fun.
yeah, as long as you can do that. As long as, like, hey, anybody want to help me? And people come and, like, yeah, we'll do it. And it doesn't matter what data center you're on, you can come and help. That's all that's
There are
really
some
needed.
people, that might be worried about what effect this might have on data center and world economies. There was the same worry back when right before we started the World Visit System as well.
As long as you don't allow people to access those markets, it'll be fine.
Negligible. And of course, we're going to be doing some simulations to make sure that that's the case here, but we don't feel that it will affect adversely the economies.
さてまあ大体これですねようやく 終わりが見えたかな。
All right, so I think that is pretty much all that we have today. Pretty much.
Pretty
ちょっ
much.
と待って待って。
Hold
ち
on.
ょっと
Hold
待
on.
ってよ。
なんか知ってる人の声する。
I
Is
think I
this the
hope that-
president of Square Enix?
もう一つ何かですね。皆さん
Yeah, it's the president of Square
あるん
Enix.
じゃないの？
Are
あ
you forgetting something important to tell our
Eh?
players?
重要なお知らせですよ。重要なお知らせ。
Something really important.
社長。
It's the CEO.
Yeah, I know because you can fight him in Near Automata.
え
Is it?
何
Yep. Yee.
あー
PS5.
Okay.
It's just another translator.
PS5
I figured there was going to be a specific PS5 version.
オープンベータ。はい。
The
4
open
月13日から開始します。
ちょちょ
The
Open beta begins Tuesday, April
PS5
13th.
version open beta will begin on Tuesday, April
Eh?
13th.
Cool.
ねえじゃないですよ。
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's going on?
I assumed they was going to do this.
いよいよ
Ah, enough of this. I will be doing streams of.
PS5 version open beta will begin soon.
I mean, I have the game on PC, and I dislike how they do deal with cross-system stuff.
そうですよ
Well, even though the PS4 and the PC can
言ってん
play
のに
with each other, the only issue I have is
日付は
to do things on PS5, PS4 and PS5. You have to actually have
The
that
release date for
version.
5.5 yet. That was
ああ、そう。まあだけど、まあいいよね。
Well, it's okay, right?
同じ日です。
So it's on the same day.
この日にやります。
What?
あーまあちょっとまあちょっと準備を一生懸命
I mean, I will do 14 streams. I'm still doing 14 streams. I'm going to do the near raid, definitely, and I will probably do like some in-walker stuff.
大事なせっかくだから
Yeah, I know it really sucks.
PS5 版の動画も
And even though like I got a free copy of like ARR, I can't do anything outside of the ARR content.
Play the video.
Oh, hey, it's the boss theme. $4K game. That's slight. That is quicker than how much I can do. I have my shit on the SSD as well, but yeah, I do hate that I have to buy it twice if I do that. Granted, all I would have to buy is Shadowbringers, and then I get everything else. Faster load times,
あーし
stable frame
かも
rate.
こういう観点でやんの
oh, and you even
こ
made
れ
a
す
PowerPoint.
ごいんでしょこれ。
I heard it's quite amazing.
いや
I would like to see it in action,
いや
though.
いいですけど
It is.
I would like to
amazing.
even do comparison
じゃあ
if I
まあ
could.
もう出ちゃってるんで僕から
Because I do have an SSD in this one. It does take like 2 to 3 seconds.
よろしくお願いします。
And if it's less than a second between areas, that would be
まず
great.
ですね今回 PS5 版 4K ネイティブ対応させていただいております
But like having 4K resolution would be great.
PlayStation
And by the
5
time
will be
this comes out, if things go well, I might even have a 4K
そして
TV.
ね今ちょっと動画の方でもご覧いただきましたがあれまあ PS5 版そのものからキャプチャーしている
I really need one.
ですがまあ超高速ロード
I
PS5
essentially just play off my Elgato
実測タイムなので
to do all of
スピードで
this.
エリアチェンジできるようになります
So the video that you just saw, that was actual PlayStation 5 footage. And so you saw there the teleport and the quick loading time on the teleport. That is, again, one of the PlayStation 5's main selling points. That is the actual speed at which players will be able to teleport.
そしてですね、フレームレート、当然ですね、PS5 の、性能非常にパワフルなので、それを活かしてですね、フレームレートを大幅向上させていただいてます。
As you know, the PlayStation 5 is an extremely powerful system, and that will help us significantly improve the frame rate for the PlayStation 5 version.
ですので、今回、用途に分けてまたオプション設定増やしていこうと思うんですが、PS5 の場合は、もう 4K でとにかくグラフィックス至上主義で遊びたいよっていうモードと、
So currently we're planning to have two different modes for the PlayStation 5 version. One mode being
Performance
4K version, where
and
those players that
4K.
play
and then everybody plays in performance mode because somehow 4K fucks everything up.
とにかくフレームレート爆速でド安定で遊びたいんだっていう人の、モードとこれ、まあ、リアルタイムに
I wonder
でき
how
るので
like the performance mode would be
で
limited
遊ん
to
でいただければと思います。
maybe 2
And then
curve.
the second mode that we have planned is our full HD 2K mode that focuses more on frame rate and optimizing that frame rate. And players will be able to go into config and change that in real time in the PlayStation 5 version.
PS4 版発売された時も覚えてらっしゃる方いらっしゃると思うんですがパッチを当てるたびにですね PS5 バージョンに PS5 ならではの特性を入れたアップデートっていうのも行っていく予定です。
And as we did when we first released our PlayStation 4 version, we plan on continuing to make improvements to the PlayStation 5 version over a series of patches.
And then in like 2-3 years, they're going to drop PS4 support because the PS4 will be holding the systems back.
And what's
Just like how the eh?
これどうなの？
じゃあ
Free crossplay?
ちょっとじゃあ僕から
Are you gonna give us that cross buy free?
Okay,
いいですよ。
so
go ahead.
I have something to ask of you since you're here today.
Can we do free upgrades?
こうしたいっていうのが
Free
あるので
upgrades?
見ていただきたい
Okay, so this is what I want to do, and I want you to take a look at this and see if it's okay.
ファイナルファン
As
タジー
Richard episode 14 may download and play the PS5 upgrade, no extra
お
cross.
持ちの方は
Yay!
まあオープン
Good.
ベータがあって正式サービス
That's good because everybody's been supporting that like control font. Well,
PS5
I wouldn't talk about that.
遊べちゃっていいんじゃないですかっていう風にしたいんですけど僕的には
So basically, what I want to do is that anyone that has a registered license for the PlayStation 4 version, I want them to play the beta version, and once the beta version ends and we begin our official service,
Yeah, you still need. Well, I mean, it is a sub-based game. The point is that you wouldn't have to sit back and like buy the PS4 version. If you already have the PS4 version of Shadowbringers, you easily have the PS5 version.
PS5 でも遊べちゃいまあ簡単に言うと
And I hope that continues going forward.
どうですかね
Like if Endwalker happens and you buy the PS4 version of Endwalker, you get a PS5.
move over to that PlayStation 5 version without having to do anything.
ああ、それはだけどいいアイデアだね。
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
ね、皆さんのためですから、ぜひこれでいきましょう。
So
Now let me play it with using the PC version and having free version of that's on the console version with the PC version.
皆さんのために、ぜひ、PS5 版、試してプレイしてみてください。よろしくお願いします。
yes, so we are doing this for players. Please look forward to the PlayStation 5 version.
すごい社長を持ち上げる声がすごいですよ
Yeah,
いやこれというわけで今私決済取れましたんで PS4 版のお持ちの方は追加のもう費用なく PS5 版にもうアップグレードしていただけるというふうに確約取れましたんでもうそれでいこうと思います
So you heard it here. We got permission from the CEO himself. Those who have the PS4 version and that registered license will be able to upgrade to the PS5 version without any charge.
なので今 PS4 版の
free upgrade.
方はもう PS5 版のファイナルファンタジー14のパッケージも買っていただかなくて大丈夫です
So those of you with that registered license and the PS4 version will not need to purchase the PlayStation 5 package.
ですのでもうなんとか本体だけ手に入れてください
You won't need to buy the PlayStation 5 package, but you'll still need to try to find a PlayStation 5.
はいまあPS5 に
Yeah,
グラフィックスの
I hope that continues because I do like the idea of like if there's a PS5 version of a game
We plan
that
to
there's free upgrade
updates
path.
to the PlayStation 5 version, improving graphics, improving performance with future patches.
That's why I'm kind of miffed about Judgment being the way it is, where you have to actually rebuy Judgment. Granted, I haven't bought
Let's,
Judgment.
get a few words from our CEO before he leaves.
Yeah,
はい、改めまして、皆さん
sold out, scalpers everywhere.
Hello everyone, this is Yosuke Matsuda from Square Enix.
今日はファイナルファンタジー14新情報発表会、ご視聴いただきありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for tuning in to Final Fantasy 14 announcement showcase.
ここまでいろいろなたくさんの情報がありましたが、今のPS5 のオープンベータ、それからまだこれからもまた情報があるようですので、ぜひ
Eh.
最後まで
If Shadowbringers goes on sale, I might
Well, as you
dump
saw
that
today,
money in.
including this PlayStation 5
This way I can
version,
just
a lot of
check
new
out the
information
PS5
was
version.
revealed today. Please enjoy to the very end.
Oh, Yuji Horii is still working on that. He's in planning stages.
皆様のおかげで
That's the last time I saw.
ここまでやってこれました。
I just wish they would, I don't know, bring
And Final
bring
Fantasy
Dragon
14
Quest
has
X over.
been for 10 long years, thanks to you, all the players around the world.
そして、吉田が先ほど
Ah, yeah, it's been 10 years since The Realm Reborn. 10 years since I enjoyed a video game.
開発チーム一同
10 years of enjoying this game.
盛り上げていきますので、ぜひこれからもファイナルファンタジー14をよろしくお願いいたします。ありがとうございました。
And as Yoshida himself mentioned, he will keep working on this title. He will keep leading this title, and the development team will keep working hard to make more progress in this game. So please look forward.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I saw that Time article.
Thank
Eh.
you. Yosuke Matsuda, our president and CEO of Square Enix.
You really shouldn't admit to something like that, especially.
やれ発表されてね
Yeah.
しまいま
But
したけ
that's
ど
all we can say about
PlayStation 5は
that.
もうぜひ楽しみにしてください。
Yeah, we weren't expecting to announce that today, but we will be releasing the PlayStation 5 version very soon, so please look forward to it.
まあ、オープンベータとかね、詳しい詳細またトピックスでお知らせしていきます。基本的には本体持ってればすぐに遊べるとイメージしておいてもらえれば大丈夫かと思います。
More information about the open beta will be revealed in an upcoming topics. But long story short, if you have that PlayStation 4 version and the PlayStation 5, you'll be able to play it almost immediately once the beta begins.
すいません、ちょっと時間をオーバーし気味ですが、本日の新情報発表会はここまでとさせてください。ただ、まだまだ隠しネタが存在する行月のフィナーレ、エンドウォーカーですが、次の情報公開、ファンフェスで行っていこうと思います。
All right, and so we're already over our time limit here.
Yeah,
and,
you-
while we
18
still have a lot
minutes
of
over.
information to talk about, we're going to leave that for future events and the fan festival. And so we have one more thing to show you.
こちら、2021年5月15日、16日、2日間で行う Around the World
May 15th and 16th.
に向けた
More information. Digital event.
So our final announcement today is about the Final Fantasy Fan Festival 2001, our digital fan festival around the world, which will be held on May 15th and 16th this year.
まあ、いつものファンフェス通り2日間丸14尽くしの、ファンフェスをやっていこうと思います。もちろん、
I enjoy New Vegas a lot,
しっかり用意して
and
ます。
past that,
And just
I
like all
really
other,
have no.
Final Fantasy fan festivals,
I've never done really Fallout 1 or 2.
including
I
live concerts.
で
I think they're too
まあ
old
もちろんデジタルなので
to a point where
配信も
maybe
し
I
ますし
could enjoy
可
them.
能であればね、リアルで集まってもらえる方
There-
に
there's
は
probably
っていうのも考えたいですし
More recent game
僕らも
you can get
そこ
into.
だけ
I
じゃな
don't
い
even have
ゲーム
Galgun
の中で
1.
もみたいな感じで丸2日
I
間
don't really play Galgun, so
ゲームを通して14を楽しめるファンフェスをやっていこうと思ってます。
And while we're planning to have this fan festival again online, so all players all around the world can
Eh?
attend.
Oh, I'm watching the Final Fantasy 14 expansion announcement thing.
But we want to have a full 2 days filled with
Well, less patch expansion is more
experience,
expansion
have
expansion.
it feel like an in-game type of event.
そしてですね、ライブストリームで世界中にと言いました。ですので、もうすべて音楽コンテンツも含めて今回はすべて無料で、視聴
Oh
してい
yeah,
ただ
of
けるよう
course
に
it's
します。
well, it's always been.
And so,
Wait, hasn't it always been
attending
free of
this one
charge?
online,
I know the
we want to
keynote's
allow
been free of
everyone to
charge.
stream in its entirety, including the
No,
content
it has nothing to do with 16. It has all to do with 14.
とかあるのかな。まあそういった音楽ステージとかも、ストリーム無料でお
What?
届けしていこうと思ってます。
So a lot of people
We're going to the moon. Yeah, we're going to the moon.
Primal's concert
MMO's bad.
is
No, it's not. Dev, you haven't even played it.
for free.
まあただちょっと注意点。
You haven't even played it,
にはいろんなゲー
so
ムの方
you
とか
your
いらっしゃるの
opinion is
で
null and void.
アーカイブからは映像がね残らないように するかもしれないので、ぜひですね、リアルタイムに視聴していただけると大変助かります。
Just one thing though about the live performances, because it does involve people that are not affiliated with Square Enix. There is a chance that after the stream, while the stream is free, after the stream, it might not be archived. So make sure that you catch the stream in real time.
なんかコメントでですね、太っ腹すぎて心配なんだよなって。
They're worried that we're giving too much.
金払ってもいいんだぞって書いてくださっ
Some
てる方
people
が
are
いる
even
んです。
saying that, oh, we're willing to pay.
そういった方はですね、ぜひ
No.
このファンフェス記念アイテムを購入していただけると助かります。
So those of you who are willing to pay, we have something for you to pay for if you like. This is not required. This is if you would like it.
If you would like, you can pay some money. You can get the Luna Whale mount.
フェンリルというバイクファンフェス記念として、
Because we're going to the moon.
ルナホエールというマウント、発売開始させていただく予定です。
So as you remember with our last fan festival, we had Cloud's bike
Finrear. Oh yeah, I forgot that
digital
you
fan
can buy
festival, where we
Finrear.
have this mount, the Lunar Whale.
まあ、天野先生のね、昔のデザインをちょっと再現しております。
Where actually used Yoshitaka Amano's original artwork as a base for this design.
ちょっとこちらですね、いち早く完成しているので動画をお持ちしました。
Actually, this has already been completed, and so we have a video to show you. Take a
Oh.
look at it.
We gotta see it. Please show us the whale. Oh! Oh! It's a multi-seater. Oh, spoilers! Spoilers! There was area spoilers.
はい、いかがだったでしょうか。ファイナルファンタジー14初のついに8人乗りマウントの登場でございます。
So as you saw in the video, this is Final Fantasy XIV's first ever 8-person mount.
はい。で、さらにですね、このファンフェス記念してもう一種アイテムがございます。
We also have one more type of item available for free.
まあ今回ね、行月のフィナーレエンドウォーカーが月に絡んでいる
Edge, Rosa, and Rydia.
4の、オマージュエッセンスっていうのも
Little minions.
かなと思うんですが、その4
It's Final Fantasy IV stuff.
エッジ、ローザ、リディアの、ミニオンがファンフェス記念として発売となります。
And because a big part of the Endwalker story focuses on the moon, we decided to go the route of Final Fantasy IV, which also took place somewhat on the moon, and take characters from there and create minions from them. We have Edge, Rosa, and Rydia.
で、どちらもね、ファンフェスティバル、デジタルファンフェスティバルの開催5
They
月
seem more based upon their DS design.
お願いします。
We plan to have them available for purchase on the same day, that first day of the Final Fantasy Fan Festival on May 15th. Please look forward to them.
はい。ファンフェスの情報もね、今日この後の PLL とかでまたちょっと触れていこうと思ってます。
Regarding the fan festival, we have a little bit more information to give you, and we plan on doing that in the letter from the producer live that is coming up after this showcase.
This showcase that has gone on 30 minutes longer. Maybe. I could totally do that because I did Rising for this past
Way over our
fourth.
time limit, but I think we're finally finished with today's showcase.
いやー、講師大変だったね。ごめんね。
That was, yeah, it's okay.
いやー、皆さんも本当にありがとうござい
Yeah,
ま
it's
す。
fine.
Thank you very much.
それではですね、ハイデリンゾディアーク編のその衝撃のラスト、ぜひそれをですね、震えてお待ちいただけたらと思います。
With Endwalker, we're finally approaching the climax of the story of Hydaelyn and Zodiark, so please look forward to it.
Oh, and nice key art.
もう最後にちょっとね、 ね、これ補足ですが、天野先生、天野義孝先生に
Yeah.
描いていただいた今回のエンドウォーカーのイメージイラスト。
And so this is actually the last thing that we have. Here's some artwork that we had especially created for us by the master Yoshitaka Amano.
まあ、どちらが善でもどちらが悪でもないと、天地、逆にもできるようなデザインでぜひお願いしますというので、結構無茶な僕ね、注文、天野先生にお願いしたんですけど。
So when we went to Amano Sensei to ask him to create this for us, we told him that we wanted something that was, whether you looked at it from the top or the bottom, it would be, you have a different sort of image, that there is no good, there is no bad, there is no dark, there is no light. And I think he did a really good job.
まあぜひですね、このアートにも仕掛けいろいろあります。ストーリークリアした時に見るとまたちょっと印象変わるのかなとも思いますんで、ぜひこれらも含めて全力でこれから、進めていこうと思いますので、どうぞ楽しみにお待ちください。
In this illustration, there's a lot of stuff hidden about the story. You could take a look at it now and speculate. We also would like you to maybe take another look at it after you've completed the story, and it'll take on a different light and show you things that maybe you hadn't seen before. So we really enjoy the art and hope you do too.
改めまして全世界の光の戦士の皆さん、本当に長い時間最後までご視聴ありがとうございました。
All right, to all of our warriors of light watching us from around the world, thank you for staying with us for so long.
ただしこの後日本時間午後3時から今度はプロデュースされたライブがございますので、そちらでまた後ほどお会いしましょう。
But we're not done yet, because in just a couple hours at 3 o'clock Japan Standard Time, we have the letter from the producer live where we talk all about 5.5.
はい、ありがとうございました。
Which if it's gonna be a couple hours, I won't be showing it. I thought they said 10, but I guess it was 10 Pacific time. But yeah, yay! So let's go back to here and like fucking look at everything and try to figure out what I did. Let's see. Okay, expansion title. No, wrong. This was wrong. Bad. One healer, one caster. Got one of those right. So what ended up being was one healer and one melee physical DPS. I'm right on new races. They didn't show any new races, so that's correct. Ilzabard, I'm half right because it seems like 2 of the areas were Ilzabard, but we're also going to the moon. They didn't give reason on the story, but that's fine. But I have a strong feeling that there's no guest designers, so that's wrong. But yay! I got, I guess, 2.5 wrong, maybe. Kind of. Anyways, yeah, that's gonna be it. No streams this weekend, no stream on Sunday. I'll be back on Monday with VR chat to celebrate my birthday. Thank you for coming out. Let's see, who can I give y'all to? Maybe if I type in, is Martyr still? Yeah, Martyr's still streaming. We'll go raid Martyr. So, yeah, thanks for coming out. Stay safe. Have a good night, and let's see, come on. Get ready to raid. Go say hi. Be nice.